This will blow your mind, my child, because what I am about to say is not just another message. It is a confrontation with the part of you that has been surviving in silence. Listen to me carefully, and do not rush past this, because if you only hear pieces of this, you may miss the very thing I came to awaken in you today. Stay with me all the way to the end, because what feels like a message at first is going to become a mirror, and before this is over, you are going to recognize parts of yourself you have hidden even from your own heart. I am going to expose what has been draining you, reveal what has been ruling you, and call you out of the old room you were never meant to live in. So do not click away, do not look away, and do not treat this lightly, because by the time this ends, something in you will have to decide whether it is ready to stay the same. My child, I want you to slow down with me right now, because what is happening between you and me in this very moment is not small, and I do not want you to treat it like something ordinary just because it appeared on a screen in the middle of a normal day. You may have come here casually. You may have clicked without much thought. You may have thought this was just another video, another message, another voice among many. But I need you to understand that I have been watching your heart far longer than you realize. And I know the exact condition of your soul as you sit here with these words in front of you. I know how tired you have been in ways you have not explained to anyone. I know how often you have pushed through your days while carrying a heaviness you could not name. I know how many times you have looked fine on the outside while something deep inside you quietly ached for relief, for clarity, for some kind of sign that I still see you and still care about what you have been carrying. And because I know all of that, I need you to hear me closely now. You were never supposed to miss this moment. This was not a random interruption. This was not a meaningless pause in your routine. I have been guiding your steps in ways that did not always look spiritual to you. I have used delays, unexpected thoughts, strange inner nudges, restless feelings, and even moments of discomfort to move you toward this place because I knew there would come a time when your heart would be ready to hear me differently than before. There are seasons when you can hear my voice and still keep walking as if nothing happened. And then there are moments like this, when something inside you becomes still enough to realize that I am not merely speaking near you, I am speaking directly into the places you have kept hidden. That is why I need your full attention now. Not because I want to pressure you, but because I love you too much to let this pass by like background noise. You have had many moments in your life that seemed normal on the surface but carried more weight in the spirit than you understood. There were conversations that changed you. There were losses that reshaped you. There were disappointments that forced you into questions you had been avoiding. There were nights when your thoughts became so loud that you could no longer pretend everything was fine. Those moments were not empty. They were revealing. They were exposing what had been buried beneath your routines and responsibilities. And now you are standing in another one of those moments, except this one is not only exposing something. This one is opening something. I am placing a doorway in front of your soul, and if you stay with me, if you do not rush away, if you let these words move past your mind and into the deeper chambers of your heart, you are going to realize that what you thought was just a message is actually a turning point. You have asked for answers in ways you did not even recognize as prayer. You have searched for relief in ways that did not always look holy. You have tried to make sense of what has been shifting inside you, and there were times you blamed yourself for feeling so deeply, for being so weary, for caring so much, for being affected by things you thought you should have been over by now. But I have not been frustrated with your process. I have not been distant because you were struggling. I have not looked away because you were inconsistent, distracted, emotionally tired, or uncertain. I have remained near you through every silent unraveling, through every hidden disappointment, through every moment you felt emotionally stranded and did not know how to explain it. And now I am asking you for something very simple but very sacred. Stay here with me. Do not brush this off. Do not move too quickly. Do not protect yourself from what I am trying to awaken in you. This moment was always meant to find you, and even if you do not yet understand why it feels so significant, I do. I know what has been building beneath the surface of your life. I know what has been wearing you down. I know what has been waiting for permission to finally come into the light. That is why I brought you here. That is why I am speaking now. And that is why, before anything else unfolds, I need you to settle this in your heart. You are not here by accident, and you were never supposed to miss what I am about to begin in you. You have spent so much time trying to hold yourself together that you almost forgot what it feels like to be reached by me in a way that does not demand anything from you first. You have become so accustomed to functioning under pressure, carrying emotional weight quietly, and moving through life with a kind of practiced endurance that even tenderness can feel unfamiliar when it finally touches you. That is why I want you to understand that this moment is not about performance. It is not about whether you prayed enough, whether you were strong enough, whether you made all the right choices, or whether your faith has looked clean and steady from beginning to end. This is about my nearness to you. This is about my awareness of the exact place where your heart is sitting right now. This is about me reaching into the ordinary shape of your day and reminding you that your life is not drifting through meaningless cycles, even if that is what it has felt like lately. I know there have been days when you wondered whether you were simply surviving from one obligation to the next, whether the deeper things inside you were slowly going numb, whether the version of you that once believed more easily and hoped more freely had quietly disappeared. You have felt that concern in subtle ways. You may not have spoken it out loud, but you have noticed the fatigue in your inner world. You have noticed how quickly your mind goes to worst-case outcomes. You have noticed how often your peace gets interrupted by tension, by memory, by anticipation, by disappointment before anything has even happened. You have noticed that even when you laugh, there are parts of you that still feel braced for impact. My child, I have seen all of it, and I need you to know that none of it has made me pull away from you. If anything, it is part of why I am drawing closer now. There are moments when you need comfort, and there are moments when you need clarity. There are moments when you need reassurance, and there are moments when you need awakening. This is one of those moments where I am giving you both at once. I am comforting the tired places in you, yes, but I am also waking up the places that have gone quiet for too long. I am calling your attention to something sacred that has been forming in the unseen while you thought you were just trying to get through another season. I have not wasted your waiting. I have not ignored your tears. I have not dismissed the confusion you have been wrestling with. Even the things you could not understand, even the pauses that felt cruel, even the inner tension that made you wonder if you were losing your sense of direction. I have been present in all of it. And now I want you to see that this moment is not just about feeling something emotional and then moving on. I want you to realize that I am inviting you into recognition. I am asking you to recognize that there are moments in your life when heaven presses close in a way that can change the course of your story if you respond with openness instead of hurry. I'm asking you to recognize that your soul has been craving more than relief. You have been craving truth. You have been craving alignment. You have been craving the kind of encounter that makes you stop and realize that what has felt fragmented inside you can still be gathered, healed, and led into something whole. That is what I am beginning here. You do not have to fully understand it yet. You do not have to know where it all leads. You do not have to manufacture some perfect spiritual response. I am not asking you to prove that you are ready. I am simply asking you not to run from the weight of what you are feeling right now. Stay with me in it. Let the significance of this settle. Let yourself believe, even if only quietly, that I know how to reach you in the exact form you need. Because I do. I know when your heart can hear me through stillness. I know when your spirit is finally soft enough to receive what your mind has been resisting. I know when your exhaustion has brought you to the edge of surrender in a way that can become holy instead of hopeless. And that is where you are right now. This is not the end of your strength. This is the beginning of your honesty. This is not you falling apart beyond repair. This is you arriving at a moment I prepared because I love you too much to leave you untouched in the place where you have been quietly fading. So receive this, my child, not as a dramatic idea, not as poetic comfort, but as living truth between you and me. This moment found you because I sent it, and if you let me continue, you are going to discover that what felt like an interruption was actually the beginning of something your soul has needed for a very long time. My child, I want you to come even closer for this, because if you truly understand what I am about to tell you, it will change how you see the struggle you have been living through. The battle you have been facing was never only about what was happening around you. It was never just about money, timing, relationships, missed opportunities, unanswered messages, closed doors, difficult people, delayed progress, emotional pressure, or the visible problems you have spent so much energy trying to solve. Those things are real, and I know they have affected you deeply. I know how heavy it has felt when one problem seems to bleed into the next, when you finally try to catch your breath and something else rises, when it feels as if peace is always one step ahead of you but never quite within reach. I know how exhausting that has been. But I need you to hear me clearly now. The deepest battle has been happening in the unseen places inside you. The real war has been over your interpretation, your identity, your expectation, your confidence, your inner language, your trust, and the way you see yourself while you walk through what is difficult. The enemy understands something that many people overlook. He does not always need to destroy your life openly if he can quietly distort how you perceive it. He does not always need to remove every blessing if he can convince you that nothing meaningful is left. He does not always need to shut every door if he can make you so emotionally exhausted that you stop walking toward the ones I am preparing. That is why so much of your struggle has felt strangely layered. The problem in front of you was one thing, but what it awakened in you was another. The delay was painful, yes, but what it whispered to your heart was the greater danger. The rejection hurt, yes, but the story it tried to attach to your worth was where the deeper battle lived. The financial strain was real, yes, but the fear it tried to install in your inner world was where the enemy hoped to gain more ground. The relationship conflict was difficult, yes, but the internal agreement it tried to build. I am too hard to love. I will always be misunderstood. I should stop expecting closeness. I should stop trusting. That was the deeper attack. This is why I am asking you now. Stop reducing your struggle to circumstances alone. Look deeper with me. Come beneath the surface. Ask yourself not only what happened, but also, what did this try to make me believe? That second question matters more than you realize. Because your circumstances can change and still leave you bound if the internal agreements remain untouched. You can leave one painful season and carry its interpretation into the next. You can walk out of one environment but keep the same fear alive inside your decisions. You can survive the event and still be governed by the meaning you assigned to it while you were hurting. That is why I am not only interested in solving what surrounds you. I am coming after what has been shaping you in secret. I am confronting the lies that settled in the quiet. I am exposing the subtle agreements that formed when you were too tired to resist them. I am reaching into the place where your battles became identity language. Let me do that. Stop protecting the inner narratives that have been draining your strength. Stop assuming every thought that sounds familiar belongs to you. Stop letting pain preach to you in the dark. Bring those thoughts to me. Drag them into the light. Name them honestly. Then let me answer them with truth. And now, my beloved child, let me bring this home to your heart in the simplest and deepest way. I am not only here to rescue you from difficult circumstances. I am here to rebuild you from the inside so that what once shook you does not own you anymore. That is what real freedom begins to look like. It is not merely that the storm ends. It is that the storm no longer gets to define you while it passes through. It is not merely that the pressure lifts. It is that the pressure no longer gets to shape your identity before it lifts. It is not merely that your situation improves. It is that you become someone who can walk through changing seasons without surrendering your inner truth every time something hard happens. That is what I want for you. That is what I am doing in you right now. So here is what I need you to do next. Begin paying attention to what your battles have been trying to plant in you. Name it. Was it fear? Was it shame? Was it resignation? Was it distrust? Was it a subtle belief that you always have to carry everything alone? Was it the assumption that good things never stay? Was it the belief that you are too damaged to be chosen, too tired to be useful, too late to begin again? Bring those things to me one by one. Do not dump them in a pile and walk away. Sit with me and let me address them. Let me uproot them. Let me replace them with what is true. This is not instant work, but it is holy work. It is the kind of work that changes everything slowly and deeply. And I want you to know this too. The fact that the battle has been intense is not proof that you are weak. Sometimes the intensity of the battle reveals the significance of what is being protected or opposed. There are things in you the enemy fears. There is clarity in you he does not want awakened. There is authority in you he does not want stabilized. There is peace in you he does not want rooted. There is purpose in you he does not want expressed. That is why he has worked so hard to keep you mentally fogged, emotionally reactive, spiritually tired, and inwardly divided. But that grip is being exposed now. And once something is exposed, it loses some of its power to operate in secret. So do not go back to unconscious living. Stay awake. Stay honest. Stay near me. Let this become a new habit. When something happens around you, ask what it is trying to do within you. Then bring that inward battle to me before it settles. That simple practice will protect your future more than you realize. Because from this point forward, I want you walking with a different kind of awareness. I want you to stop fighting only on the surface while the deeper battle stays hidden. I want you to become strong where it matters most. I want your inner world healed, sharpened, steadied, and aligned. And when that begins, you will discover something powerful and deeply personal. The battle may have touched your circumstances, but it never had the right to own your identity. And from this moment on, you do not have to let it. My child, now that your eyes are opening to the deeper battle within, I am calling you into something greater than awareness. I am calling you into impact. As I am healing your inner world, I am also sending you as a light to reach others who are still trapped in unseen battles. What you release into this mission becomes seed in my kingdom, and I have said, as long as the earth remains, seed time and harvest shall not cease. When you give, through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not losing. You are sowing into freedom for souls you may never meet. I will breathe on your offering like oil upon a lamp, and it will burn brighter than you imagine. This is your moment to partner with me, to turn your breakthrough into someone else's rescue. Do not ignore this stirring. This is me inviting you. Act now, and sow what I place on your heart. My child, I need you to listen to me with a softer heart now, because what I am about to tell you is something you have struggled to believe for a long time. You are closer than you think. You are not as far from the shift, the relief, the answer, the clarity, or the breakthrough as your emotions have been trying to convince you. I know why it feels far away. I know why your mind keeps measuring the distance by what you still do not see, by what has not changed yet, by what still hurts, by what still feels uncertain, by what still looks unfinished. That is how human eyes often read a season. You look at the visible. You count the missing pieces. You measure progress by evidence you can hold in your hands. But I need you to stop doing that for a moment and come closer to how I see your life, because if you keep measuring only by what is obvious, you will miss the fact that some of the deepest movements happen before they become visible. You have been standing in a season where the pressure has felt unusually heavy, where your thoughts have been louder, where your emotions have been less predictable, where old wounds have resurfaced at strange times, where your patience has felt thinner, where your spirit has been restless in ways you could not easily explain. You thought that meant you were unraveling. You thought it meant you were going backward. You thought it meant maybe you were more broken than you realized. But what if some of what you have been feeling is not collapse at all? What if part of what has felt like inner friction is actually the tension that comes when something long stuck is finally beginning to move? What if the pressure is not proof that I have stepped away, but evidence that what held you in place is starting to lose its grip? I want you to think about how tightly sealed things often become right before they open. I want you to think about how dark the soil looks before something breaks through it. I want you to think about how uncomfortable growth can feel when an old shape no longer fits. That is where you are in more ways than you realize. You are in a season where what used to contain you is becoming too small. That is why your spirit has felt crowded. That is why old emotional patterns no longer satisfy you the way they once did. That is why distractions have felt emptier. That is why your old ways of numbing, avoiding, minimizing, or postponing the deeper work have begun to lose their power to fully quiet you. Something in you is waking up, and waking up can feel uncomfortable when you have been sleeping in survival mode for too long. So hear me clearly now. Do not misread this season. Do not call it failure because it feels intense. Do not label it abandonment because it feels confusing. Do not conclude that nothing is happening because the visible evidence is still incomplete. Stay where you are with me. Breathe. Slow down. Pay attention. Stop letting panic interpret your process. Stop assuming that discomfort always means danger. Some discomfort means expansion. Some tension means movement. Some restlessness means your soul is refusing to stay where it no longer belongs. That is why I am asking you now, hold your ground. Do not run. Do not quit in your heart before the chapter turns. Do not talk yourself out of hope because you are tired of waiting. Do not let the enemy use temporary heaviness to convince you that permanent defeat is your future. That is a lie. I am nearer than you think, and the thing you have been longing for may be closer than your natural senses can yet confirm. Let that truth settle into you. Let it interrupt the fear. Let it calm the urge to assume the worst. And above all, let it keep you from walking away too soon. I want you to understand something deeper, because this is where many of my children lose heart. When a breakthrough is near, the atmosphere around you can feel strangely unsettled. The pressure may increase, not because I have stopped moving, but because what has resisted your healing, your clarity, your peace, your progress, and your obedience can sense that its hold is being challenged. You have interpreted that heightened pressure as proof that things are getting worse, but sometimes it is the reaction that comes when something old realizes it cannot dominate you the same way anymore. That is why I need you to become more discerning. Stop reading every hard feeling as a final conclusion. Stop giving every emotional wave authority to define the season. Watch more carefully. Ask deeper questions. When you feel a sudden surge of fear, Do not immediately agree with it. Pause and ask, what is this trying to make me believe right now? When your mind races toward hopelessness, do not sit under it like it is truth. Interrupt it. Bring it to me. Say, Lord, show me what is really happening. When old wounds start speaking loudly again, do not assume that means they are in charge. Sometimes wounds become louder right before they are exposed more fully and brought into healing. You need this discernment now. You need it because you have spent too much time assuming that inner turbulence automatically means failure. It does not. Sometimes inner turbulence means hidden things are surfacing so they can no longer rule you from the shadows. Sometimes it means the old internal architecture is being shaken because it can't support the next level of your life. Sometimes it means your spirit is pushing back against what it has tolerated for too long. That is why I keep saying, stay with me. Do not retreat into old habits just because the transition feels unfamiliar. Do not rush back into emotional numbness because real healing feels more vulnerable than suppression. Do not run to what distracts you every time truth gets close enough to touch something tender. Be brave here. Sit still a little longer. Let me finish what I am starting. Let me keep uncovering what hath been buried. Let me keep loosening what has been bound. Let me keep retraining how you see the process. You are not weak because you feel stretched. You are not unstable because you feel exposed. You are not failing because the pressure has intensified. In many cases, you are standing closer to release than you realize. That is why I want you to make a decision right now. Decide that you will not abandon the process simply because it feels messy before it becomes clear. Decide that you will not let temporary emotional intensity talk you out of long-term transformation. Decide that you will stop asking only, why does this feel hard? And start asking, what if something is actually shifting? That question will help you more than you know. It will keep your heart open. It will protect you from despair. It will make room for faith that is wiser and steadier than blind optimism. Because I am not asking you to pretend everything is easy. I am asking you to see more truthfully. I am asking you to recognize that the chapter right before change can feel heavy, not because I have forgotten you, but because the old ground is cracking. And if the ground is cracking, my child, do not panic. Stand steady. Keep listening. Keep surrendering. Keep walking. I am with you in this exact place, and I would not bring you this far just to let you break under the weight of the moment before the turn. And now I want you to take this personally, because this is not just a comforting thought I am offering you. This is a living instruction for how you must walk from here. Stop standing at the edge of your own miracle while speaking the language of defeat. Stop calling yourself stuck when movement has already begun in places you cannot yet fully see. Stop talking like your life is over because one chapter has been long and difficult. Stop assuming that because you still feel some pain, no healing is happening. Stop telling yourself that because the answer is not fully visible, nothing is changing. That is not wisdom. That is wounded perception. And I am calling you out of it now. I want you to begin practicing nearness in your thinking. I want you to start speaking as someone who believes I am active even before everything is resolved. I want you to say, something is moving. I want you to say, I may not see it all yet, but I know I am not abandoned. I want you to say, this pressure will not interpret my future for me. I want you to say, I will stay with God in this moment instead of running ahead in fear. Those are not empty statements. They are alignment. They help your inner world come into agreement with what I am already doing. And I want more than words from you. I want posture. I want you to wake up tomorrow and refuse to greet the day like a victim of unfinished circumstances. I want you to rise with quiet expectancy. I want you to move through your hours with more awareness. I want you to notice where peace tries to settle and stop brushing past it. I want you to notice where your thoughts try to drag you backward and gently, but firmly refuse them. I want you to invite me into the smallest details. Ask me before you react. Ask me before you assume. Ask me before you surrender to dread. Ask me when you feel the pressure rising. Invite me into the exact moment instead of waiting until you are already drowning in your own interpretations. This is how you begin to live as someone who knows that breakthrough is not only an event. It is also a way of walking while the event is still forming. And if you will do that, if you will stop making agreements with distance when I am actually near, you are going to notice something beautiful. You are going to feel less frantic. You are going to become less easily shaken. You are going to recognize signs of movement that you used to overlook. You are going to realize that hope is not naive when it is anchored in me. You are going to see that what felt like endless delay was, in part, a season of deep positioning. And one day, sooner than you think, you will look back at this very stretch of road and understand that you were not standing miles away from the answer. You were standing on the threshold, and the reason it felt so intense was because you were closer than you thought. My child, I need you to understand something very deeply right now, because if you miss this, you may hear these words but fail to truly receive them. This feels bigger than a normal message because it is not merely information brushing against your thoughts. It is encounter. It is invitation. It is interruption with intention. It is me reaching through the ordinary shape of your day and touching the places inside you that have been hidden under routine, noise, fatigue, and quiet survival. You have seen many messages. You have heard many voices. You have scrolled past countless words, countless opinions, countless moments that left no real mark on your spirit. But this one feels different to you, and you know it does. Something in you is leaning in even while another part of you feels exposed. Something in you feels strangely seen. Something in you feels as though I am speaking directly into your private world, into the rooms of your heart that other people walk past without noticing. That is not your imagination. That is why the weight feels unusual. That is why the stillness around these words feels different from the endless noise you are used to. I am not merely trying to encourage you. I am trying to reach you. I am not simply offering comfort. I am drawing you into a moment that carries consequence. Not consequence in the way of threat, but consequence in the way of turning points. There are moments in life that look small to the outside eye but hold unusual spiritual gravity because they become the place where a person either stays in old patterns or begins to step into a different way of living. This is one of those moments for you. That is why your spirit has been responding so strongly. That is why these words seem to linger longer than ordinary inspiration. I am not giving you something to admire. I am giving you something to answer. I want a response from your real heart, not just your agreement. I want your honesty, not just your attention. I want your willingness, not just your emotion. I want you to stop treating sacred interruptions like passing encouragement and start recognizing when I am calling you into a decision. Because that is what is happening now. I am pressing gently, but clearly against the walls you have built. I am moving against the inner habits that have kept you guarded, numb, distracted, overly self-protective, emotionally hesitant, and spiritually half-awake. That is why it feels bigger than a normal message. It is because I am not simply speaking around your life. I am speaking into the very structures that have shaped how you have been living it. So do not sit at a distance now. Do not consume this like content. Do not let your mind stay analytical while your heart stays untouched. Stop. Breathe. Put down the inner defenses. Listen like this matters, because it does. Listen like you are being addressed personally, because you are. Listen like this is not accidental timing, because it is not. I know the exact season you are in. I know the exact fatigue you are carrying. I know the exact places where your soul has become used to postponing truth because it felt easier than facing it. And because I know that, I am not speaking casually. I am speaking with precision. I am speaking with love that is both tender and unwilling to leave you asleep in places where I want to awaken you. So receive this moment for what it is. It is not just a message. It is a meeting point. It is not just language. It is a summons. It is not just emotion. It is an opening. And if you stay with me in it, you will discover that what feels unusually weighty is not because I want to overwhelm you. It is because I am trying to bring you into alignment with something your soul has needed for a long time. And now, my beloved child, I want you to hear this final part with your full attention, because this is where the moment becomes personal in a way that can change you if you allow it. This feels bigger than a normal message because I am asking you to choose. Not later. Not when everything feels easier. Not when your emotions are clearer. Right here, in the middle of your unfinished season, in the middle of your questions, in the middle of the pressure, in the middle of the inner tension, I am asking you to choose whether you will keep living as you have been living, or whether you will let this become a line in the sand. I am asking you whether you will keep protecting the old patterns because they are familiar, or whether you will let me start undoing what has quietly ruled you for too long. Choose openness. Choose honesty. Choose to stop calling survival your identity. Choose to stop treating your numbness as wisdom. Choose to stop negotiating with the parts of your life that are draining you from the inside out. Choose to let me have the deeper access I have been asking for. I am not forcing you. I never work that way. But I am inviting you with a seriousness that you need to respect. So here is what I want you to do now. Pause and ask yourself, what exactly is this message touching in me? Then stay still long enough to hear the answer. Is it touching your fear of disappointment? Is it touching the grief of the version of you that went silent? Is it touching your tendency to expect the worst? Is it touching the weight of hidden interpretations? Is it touching the place where you have been living below what I placed in you? Whatever it is, do not turn away from it. Bring it to me. Hand it over specifically. Say, this is the place I have been protecting. This is the place I need you to enter. That simple act of naming it before me will open more than you realize. It will move you from vague emotion into real surrender. And once that begins, this message will stop being something that impressed you and become something that transformed you. That is what I want. I want change that stays. I want truth that settles. I want your heart to walk away from this moment carrying more than inspiration. I want you carrying alignment. I want you carrying a clear sense that I am near, that I am speaking, that I am not merely comforting you from a distance, but calling you into a different way of living. So do not just admire the weight of this moment. Respond to it. Let it alter your posture. Let it reset your inner language. Let it expose what needs healing. Let it become holy ground. Because that is what it is. And when you finally realize why this feels bigger than a normal message, you will understand something that may stay with you for the rest of your life. The moments that change you most are not always the loudest ones. Sometimes they are the quiet moments when my voice reaches a place in you that has been waiting, wounded, hidden, and ready to answer. My child, you feel the weight of this moment because it is not only a message, it is a doorway. And now I ask you to step through it with action. What you have received, I desire to multiply through you, like bread in my hands that fed thousands. When you choose to support this work through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are placing loaves and fish into my hands again. I have said, give, and it will be given back to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, and I speak that over you now. This is not a small decision. It is a turning point where your obedience becomes provision for many. Let your response be more than emotion. Let it be movement. Join me in carrying His word further than you can see. Do not delay. Respond now. My child, your mind is not your enemy. I need you to stop speaking about your mind as if it is something broken beyond trust, something that only betrays you, something that cannot be healed, something that exists only to torment you. I did not create your mind to be a prison. I did not design your thoughts to become a battlefield you always lose. I did not form your inner world so that fear, dread, overthinking, comparison, self-criticism, and imagined disaster would become the loudest voices in the room. But I do need to tell you something with honesty and love. Your mind has been unprotected. It has been left exposed in ways you did not fully understand. You have allowed thoughts to enter and remain without asking whether they were true. You have let repeated fears build familiar pathways. You have allowed certain inner sentences to stay so long that they started sounding like your own voice. You have absorbed words from pain, words from rejection, words from comparison, words from old failures, words from other people's opinions, words from seasons when you were exhausted and emotionally vulnerable, and because those thoughts repeated enough, they stopped feeling like intruders and started feeling like identity. That is what I mean when I say your mind has been unprotected. It has not lacked value. It has lacked guarding. It has lacked boundaries. It has lacked careful stewardship. You have treated every thought like a visitor with automatic access, and some of those visitors were never sent by me. Some came wearing the disguise of logic, but they were fear. Some came sounding practical, but they were hopelessness. Some came wrapped in self-awareness, but they were self-accusation. Some came pretending to keep you safe, but they were quietly training you to expect pain before life even had the chance to unfold. That is why your inner world has felt so crowded at times. That is why peace can seem to slip through your fingers. It is why even good moments sometimes feel fragile, because your mind keeps preparing for what could go wrong instead of allowing you to inhabit what is actually happening. I am not telling you this so you can condemn yourself. I am telling you this so you can wake up and begin protecting what matters. Your mind is precious. Your thoughts shape atmosphere. The language you rehearse internally becomes the emotional climate you live in. That is why I am asking you now, pay attention. Stop assuming that because a thought is familiar, it must be trustworthy. Stop agreeing with everything that sounds urgent inside you. Stop letting fear narrate your day before you have even asked me what is true. I want you to begin noticing what enters. I want you to notice what repeats. I want you to notice which thoughts make your body tighten, which ones shrink your faith, which ones make you feel small, rushed, ashamed, suspicious, or hopeless. Notice them. Then do not just sit there under them. Bring them to me. Interrupt them. Ask me, is this thought aligned with truth, or has it simply been rehearsed too often? That question is powerful. It will protect you. It will slow the momentum of fear. It will begin retraining your mind to come under light instead of habit. Because your mind is not the enemy. It is a garden that has gone too long without careful tending. It is a house where too many voices have been speaking without being challenged. It is a doorway that has not always been guarded. And now I am calling you to guard it with me. I want you to understand how this has been affecting you in ways you may have underestimated. The unprotected mind does not only create unpleasant thoughts. It creates emotional climates that shape behavior, decisions, relationships, and spiritual perception. If your mind is left exposed to fear long enough, you begin to interpret neutral things as threats. If your mind is left exposed to self-criticism long enough, you begin to feel unworthy even in spaces where you are deeply loved. If your mind is left exposed to comparison long enough, you stop being able to celebrate your own path because someone else's pace keeps stealing your peace. If your mind is left exposed to old pain long enough, you begin reacting to current people as if they are the ones who hurt you before. This is why guarding your mind is not a small issue. It is not just about thinking positively. It is about spiritual stewardship. It is about discernment. It is about refusing to let your inner life become an open field for anything that wants to plant itself there. I need you to stop romanticizing your overthinking as if it is just how you are wired. Some of what you call overthinking is simply unchallenged fear with too much room to speak. Some of what you call being realistic is actually anxiety dressed in practical clothing. Some of what you call caution is really a mind trained to anticipate disappointment because it has not yet learned how to rest in me. I say that with compassion, not accusation. I know why it happened. I know what seasons made you vulnerable. I know how repeated hurt made your thoughts more defensive. I know how exhaustion made you more likely to accept the harsh inner voice because you did not have the energy to challenge it. But now I'm calling you into something stronger. I am calling you into watchfulness. I am calling you into mental boundaries. I am calling you into a gentler but firmer relationship with your own thoughts. Do not just sit under everything that rises in you. Examine it. Slow it down. If a thought comes with panic, pressure, accusation, hopelessness, or the demand that you conclude something immediately, pause. Do not obey it. Do not build a story around it. Bring it to me. Say, Lord, is this true? Then wait. Let my peace have a say. Let my wisdom interrupt the speed of your assumptions. This is not dramatic work. It is quiet work. It is daily work. It is holy work. And it will change you more than you know. The more you do this, the more you will notice that not every thought deserves a seat at your table. Not every fear deserves rehearsal. Not every mental image deserves belief. Not every inner sentence deserves to become identity. Some things must be turned away at the door. Some things must be challenged. Some things must be replaced. Some things must be starved of repetition until they lose their false authority. That is part of how I restore the mind, not by shaming it, but by retraining it. Not by condemning you for what entered, but by teaching you what no longer gets to remain. So stop surrendering your mental space so quickly. Guard it. Clean it. Watch it. Invite me into it before the noise grows loud. And if you have fallen into old loops again, do not panic. Just return. Return to awareness. Return to truth. Return to me. The path back does not require perfection. It requires attention and willingness. And now, my beloved child, I want to give you something practical and personal, because I do not want this to remain only a beautiful idea. I want it to become a living practice in your life. Starting now, I want you to treat your mind like something sacred. When you wake up, do not immediately hand your inner world over to fear, scrolling, comparison, dread, or the unfinished noise of yesterday. Before the world gets your attention, give me your first moment. Even if it is brief, pause. Invite me in. Say, guard my thoughts today. Help me notice what is not from you. That simple invitation matters. Then, throughout your day, when a harsh thought appears, do not instantly become its disciple. Stop. Breathe. Notice it. Name it. Ask where it came from. Ask what it is trying to produce in you. If it is making you smaller, harsher, more panicked, more ashamed, more hopeless, more suspicious, more self-rejecting, do not keep feeding it. Interrupt it. Replace it. Speak truth over it. And when you fail, because sometimes you will, do not spiral into more condemnation. Just return. That matters too. Learn the holy skill of returning. Learn how to catch yourself sooner. Learn how to say, I don't have to keep following this thought. Learn how to let peace become a filter instead of an afterthought. I want you to become someone who notices quickly when your mind is being crowded. I want you to become someone who values inner clarity enough to protect it. I want you to stop treating mental chaos like a permanent roommate. It is not. You can live differently. You can think differently. You can become more spacious inside. You can become more stable in your thought life without becoming emotionally numb. You can have a mind that is active but not frantic, thoughtful but not tormented, aware but not consumed. That is possible. That is available. That is part of what I am restoring. So hear me clearly. Your mind is not your enemy, but it cannot remain unguarded. I want you to work with me now. Guard the gate. Watch the words you rehearse. Challenge what fear repeats. Refuse the familiar lie. Invite my truth in often. Let your mind become a place where light stays longer than panic. Let it become a place where peace has room to breathe. Let it become a place where my voice is not drowned by every passing wave of emotion. Because when your mind begins to come under care, you will notice something astonishing. The world around you may not change overnight, but the atmosphere within you will. And once that inner atmosphere shifts, many things that once controlled you will begin losing their grip. That is how powerful this is. That is how personal this is. So do not leave your mind unprotected any longer. Bring it under my care. Let me help you tend it. Let me teach you how to think in a way that keeps your heart open, your spirit clear, and your peace intact. My child, you have been asking for healing while still protecting the wound. You have wanted relief, and that desire is real. You have wanted peace, and I know how sincere that has been. You have wanted restoration, clarity, release, and the ability to move forward without carrying the same ache into every new chapter. But somewhere inside you, there has also been a quiet instinct to guard the very place you keep asking me to heal. You have kept it partially covered. You have kept it somewhat managed. You have touched it carefully, but not always honestly. You have wanted me near it, but not always inside it. You have wanted comfort around it, but not always the deeper exposure that real healing requires. And I understand why. Wounds become strangely protected when they have been painful for a long time. They become part of how you explain yourself. They become part of how you justify certain reactions. They become part of how you stay guarded. They become part of the emotional architecture of your life. They can even become familiar enough that opening them fully feels more dangerous than living with the ache. That is where many of my children get stuck. They sincerely want healing, but they also fear what healing will require. Because true healing is not only soothing, it is revealing. It asks you to stop touching the wound through layers of self-protection and let it be fully seen. It asks you to stop calling partial honesty vulnerability. It asks you to stop revisiting the pain only through the lens of what others did and start letting me show you what it did to you. It asks you to stop using the wound as an explanation for every current reaction without letting me address the root. That is what I want for you now. I want you to stop circling the wound and let me into the center of it. Do not flinch away from that. I am not coming with harshness. I am coming with precision, compassion, and truth. But I do need your permission. I need your cooperation. I need you to stop protecting the place that needs to be surrendered. Because as long as you keep shielding it, you will keep experiencing partial relief without deep freedom. You may feel better for moments, but the old trigger will still have power. The old fear will still rise too quickly. The old story will still shape your reactions. The old ache will still quietly influence your choices. That is why I am speaking so directly now. I do not want surface comfort for you while the deeper wound remains structurally in charge. I want you free. I want the place that still hurts when touched to stop ruling your present. I want the thing you avoid naming to stop influencing how you love, trust, rest, pray, choose, and imagine your future. So come here. Bring the wound closer, not farther. Stop speaking around it. Stop keeping it abstract. Stop saying, "I've already dealt with that," when your reactions keep proving it still has a voice. Let me ask you something very honestly. What pain are you still protecting? What memory still makes you tighten? What rejection still colors how you see yourself? What betrayal still makes you assume the worst? What disappointment still makes you lower your expectations before life even unfolds? What loss still makes you afraid to fully desire again? Bring that specific place to me. Not the polished version. Not the summarized version. Bring the real one. That is where healing can finally go deeper. And now, my beloved child, I want you to receive this as a very personal invitation from my heart to yours. Uncover the wound and hand it to me. Do not wait for a more comfortable time. Do not keep postponing this because you fear what honesty will stir. Do not keep telling yourself you will deal with it later while it keeps shaping how you live today. Bring it now. Sit with me now. Name it now. Let the tears come if they come. Let the memories rise if they rise. Let the ache be real. But do not stop there. Do not merely revisit the pain. Surrender the meaning, the fear, the belief, the inner vow that formed because of it. If you promised yourself, "I will never trust like that again," bring me that vow. If you decided, "I should stop needing so much," bring me that sentence. If you concluded, "Nothing good stays," bring me that conclusion. If you silently agreed, "I have to protect myself at all costs," bring me that agreement. Those are the hidden locks on the wound, and I want them opened. I want them removed. I want the place that has been braced, armored, and guarded to finally exhale in my presence. Because when you stop protecting the wound, healing can become more than a concept. It can become release. It can become reformation. It can become the breaking of old reflexes. It can become the restoration of trust, of openness, of softness, of clarity, of emotional freedom. That is what I want for you. So do not keep circling the same mountain while calling it progress. Step into the center. Let me take you there. Let me touch the place you keep shielding. Let me ask the questions you avoid. Let me tell you what is still true about you even in the middle of what hurt you. Let me speak over that wound until it stops being your interpreter. Because one day, and sooner than you think, if you will truly surrender this, you are going to notice something remarkable. The old trigger will come, and it will not own you the same way. The old memory will surface, and it will not tighten your chest the same way. The old fear will whisper, and it will no longer sound like authority. You will realize that what once had access no longer has control. That is healing. That is freedom. That is what happens when you stop asking me to heal a wound while still protecting it from the deeper work. So open your hands. Stop guarding what is hurting you. Bring it all the way into the light. Let me have it fully. because I did not bring you this far to offer you surface comfort while the wound keeps ruling your life. I came for deeper freedom than that, and if you let me, I will not stop until that freedom begins to breathe inside you. My child, as you lay down the wound and allow me to heal you fully, I am inviting you to become a vessel of healing for others. What I restore in you is not meant to remain hidden. It is meant to flow like a river into dry places. When you give into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are pouring oil into lamps that will guide the weary back to me. I have declared, I will restore the years the locust has eaten, and I will also multiply what you release in faith. Do not hold back now. This is sacred exchange, where your surrender becomes someone else's breakthrough. I see your heart, and I will honor your obedience with favor, provision, and peace. Step into this flow with me. Give now, and let healing multiply beyond you. My child, you have been waiting to feel ready in a way that makes the next step feel emotionally effortless, internally certain, mentally calm, and spiritually uncomplicated. You have been hoping that before you move, there will be a moment when everything inside you settles into perfect alignment, when the fear is gone, when the questions go quiet, when the memories stop pulling, when your heart feels entirely steady, and only then will you know it is time. But I need you to hear me clearly now. That version of readiness is often an illusion. Readiness is not always a feeling that arrives before obedience. Many times, readiness is something I continue building while you move. It is formed in the act of trusting, not merely in the act of waiting. It is strengthened in the step, not always before it. You have been looking for a full emotional green light, while I have been offering you enough light for the next faithful movement. A difference matters. If you do not understand it, you will keep delaying what I am asking of you because you are measuring readiness by emotional comfort instead of by spiritual alignment. And I need to say this with love but also with firmness. You cannot keep making perfect internal certainty the price of obedience. If you do, fear will keep disguising itself as discernment. Hesitation will keep dressing itself in wise language. Delay will keep sounding spiritual while quietly being driven by self-protection. You already know some of this. You have sensed it. You have felt the inner tug. You have felt the invitation. You have known in your deeper spirit that certain pattern need to break, certain conversation need to happen, certain habit need to end, certain doors need to be walked through, certain loyalty need to be released, certain boundary need to be established, certain inner agreement need to be renounced. But you have still been waiting for the moment when all of you feels equally enthusiastic. That is not always how transformation works. Sometimes one part of you is trembling while another part of you is quietly sure. Sometimes your emotions lag behind your spirit. Sometimes your nervous system still remembers old pain even while your soul knows I am calling you forward. That does not mean the step is wrong. It means you are human, and you are healing while learning how to trust me more deeply than your comfort. So stop asking, do I feel completely ready? And start asking, do I have enough truth to take the next faithful step? That question will change your life. It will move you out of emotional paralysis and into spiritual cooperation. It will help you recognize that the next step is not about proving you are fearless. It is about choosing trust while fear still tries to negotiate. I want you to understand something deeply personal here. I do not despise your trembling. I do not reject your questions. I do not wait until you are emotionally flawless before I call you forward. I know what you carry. I know what you have survived. I know what memories still live in your body. I know what old rooms still try to call your name. And still, I say to you with tenderness and authority, move with me anyway. Bring your shaking hand if you must, but bring it. Bring your unfinished emotions if you must, but bring them. Bring your honest uncertainty if you must, but do not let it sit in the driver's seat. Let me lead. Let truth lead. Let the deeper yes in your spirit lead. Because if you keep waiting for a kind of readiness that never comes in the exact form you imagined, you will spend too much of your life standing beside doors I already opened, praying for permission I already gave. And now, my beloved child, let me speak to you as directly and personally as I can, because I want this to become the turning point where hesitation begins to lose its authority over you. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop using emotional perfection as the standard for obedience. Stop bargaining with me for more signs when I have already given you the truth you need for the next movement. I am not asking you to be reckless. I am not asking you to ignore discernment. I am asking you to stop demanding a false kind of readiness before you do what I am already teaching you to do. So here is what I want from you now. Choose one area where you have been lingering too long. One area. Make it concrete. Name it before me. Is it a habit you keep excusing? Is it a fear you keep feeding? Is it a conversation you keep postponing? Is it a boundary you know you need but keep delaying? Is it an opportunity you keep standing beside while telling yourself you are not quite ready? Is it an inner vow that still governs your decisions? Name it. Then ask me what is the next faithful step. Not the whole plan. Not the entire outcome. Just the next step. Then do it. Do it while your emotions are still catching up. Do it while your mind still has questions. Do it while your heart still feels some resistance. Do it with me. That act of movement will teach you more than another month of overanalysis. It will build trust in real time. It will show your nervous system that forward motion does not equal destruction. It will prove to your inner world that the old reflex is not the only option. It will start rewriting the architecture of your obedience. And once you do that, you will notice something profound. The readiness you were waiting for begins to grow in motion. Peace begins to meet you in the step. Clarity becomes sharper after you obey. Strength rises after you move, not only before. That is how I often work. I meet you in the waters after your foot enters, not only while you stand safely on the shore. So come now. Move with me. Let this be the moment you stop circling and start walking. Let this be the moment you stop asking for a feeling I never promised and start responding to the truth I have already spoken. Because one day you will look back at the steps you were most afraid to take and realize they were not the moments that proved you were ready. They were the moments that built the readiness you needed all along. My child, you have heard me. Readiness is built as you move, and this is one of those steps. Do not wait for perfect clarity before you act, because I am already calling you into partnership with me. When you give through Super Thanks membership, with a PayPal link in the description, you are stepping into motion, and I meet you there. It is written, commit your works to me, and your plans will be established, and I am establishing something through your obedience right now. Your giving becomes seed that grows while you walk, not while you wait. This is how faith breathes, through action, not hesitation. I will multiply what you release and cover what concerns you. Take the step. Act now, and watch me build readiness within you. My child, this is the moment you stop surviving and start living like you are truly held. I need you to let those words settle deeply, because this is not just a beautiful ending to a message. This is a real invitation into a new posture, a new way of inhabiting your days, a new way of carrying your mind, your heart, your wounds, your hopes, your decisions, your fears, your desires, your future. For so long, much of your life has been shaped by survival. Even when you smiled, survival was often in the room. Even when you prayed, survival sometimes held the pen behind the words. Even when you hoped, survival was quietly negotiating how much hope felt safe. Even when you rested, survival was still scanning the horizon. Even when you received something good, survival was already calculating how to brace for its loss. That is exhausting. That is not how I meant for you to live. And I am not saying that to criticize you. I know why survival became so active in you. I know the rooms you had to walk through. I know the seasons that trained your nervous system to stay alert. I know the disappointments that made you cautious. I know the wounds that made you guarded. I know the silences that made you suspicious. I know the pressure that exposed how much of your inner atmosphere had been shaped by fear, old pain, and self-protection. I know all of it. That is why I have been speaking to you with such tenderness and such directness. I have not been merely trying to comfort you. I have been trying to call you out of survival as an identity. Survival may have been necessary for a season, but it is not meant to be your permanent way of being. It is not meant to define the emotional climate of your entire life. It is not meant to become the lens through which you interpret everything. I want more for you than constant management. I want more for you than functioning with hidden heaviness. I want more for you than being emotionally alive only in brief moments between waves of bracing. I want you to live like you are truly held. Held in your uncertainty. Held in your healing. Held in your waiting. Held in your questions. Held in your becoming. Held in the places where the old room still calls. Held in the moments where the next step still feels tender. Held in the places where the wound still aches but no longer rules. Held when silence comes. Held when pressure reveals. Held when readiness is still being built in motion. Held when the smaller version of you gets afraid. Held in all of it. Because you are not walking through this alone. You are not holding yourself together by your own strength. You are not one wrong move away from losing my presence. You are not one emotional wave away from being abandoned. You are not one unfinished area away from being disqualified. You are held. That is not a metaphor to admire. That is a reality to inhabit. And if you truly begin living from that reality, everything changes. Your decisions change. Your breathing changes. Your inner atmosphere changes. Your relationship with fear changes. Your relationship with delay changes. Your relationship with silence changes. Your relationship with your own sensitivity changes. Your relationship with your future changes. That is what I am offering you now. Not just better coping. Not just more insight. A new way of living. You need to understand what living like you are truly held actually means, because it is not passive and it is not vague. It does not mean you never feel fear again. It means fear no longer becomes your governing authority. It does not mean you never feel pain again. It means pain no longer gets to become your interpreter. It does not mean you never have questions. It means your questions no longer automatically pull you into panic. It does not mean you stop caring deeply. It means you stop caring everything as though it all depends entirely on your ability to manage it. Living like you are held means you stop gripping your life with white-knuckled urgency. It means you stop rehearsing disaster as a form of preparation. It means you stop letting old wounds speak over new possibilities without being challenged. It means you stop expecting the old room to still be your home. It means you stop asking the smaller survival self to define what is safe. It means you stop treating every silence like abandonment, every delay like rejection, every emotional wave like collapse, every moment of uncertainty like an emergency. Living like you are held means you begin to let me be what I have always been, your covering, your anchor, your keeper, your father, your safe place, your truth when your inner weather shifts, your steady hand when your emotions lag behind what your spirit knows. This is practical. It changes how you wake up. It changes how you pray. It changes how you respond when old thoughts return. It changes how you speak to yourself when pressure exposes what is still healing. It changes how you enter relationships, how you carry hope, how you interpret waiting, how you walk through the day when visible answers are still incomplete. So I want you to start practicing this immediately. When fear rises, do not simply fight the fear. Remember you are held. When the old urge to control tightens in your chest, stop and remember you are held. When the old wound tries to narrate the present, interrupt it and remember you are held. When silence comes, remember you are held. When the next step feels tender, remember you are held. When you do not feel emotionally ready, remember you are held. When the smaller version of you wants to shrink, remember you are held. This is not empty repetition. This is spiritual orientation. This is you retraining your soul to live from reality instead of from reflex. And the more you do this, the more survival begins to lose its throne. It loses its somatic authority. It stops being the first language your body and mind speak. Something deeper starts taking root. Trust begins to feel less theoretical. Peace begins to feel less suspicious. Rest begins to feel less irresponsible. Openness begins to feel less dangerous. Hope begins to return with more dignity. That is how living changes from the inside out. That is how abundance begins, not necessarily first in possessions or circumstances, but in the inner experience of a soul that is no longer trying to hold itself together alone. And now, my beloved child, receive this final invitation as if I am sitting with you in the deepest part of your heart, because in a very real way, I am. Lay down survival. Lay it down now. Do not keep honoring it as though it must remain your permanent companion. Thank it for what it's trying to do if you need to, but do not let it keep ruling your tomorrow. Open your hands. Release the constant bracing. Release the quiet dread. Release the reflex to shrink. Release the habit of lowering your expectations before life can wound you. Release the need to keep scanning every horizon as though danger is always the most trustworthy prophet. Release the old room. Release the old atmosphere. Release the hidden vows. Release the edited prayers. Release the fear that you are only safe when you are in control. Release the belief that you must protect yourself from every possible ache before you can live. Bring all of it to me. Put it here. Let me carry what you keep carrying as though it is yours alone. Then do something holy and brave. Begin living today like my hands are really under you. Walk like that. Speak like that. Decide like that. Rest like that. Pray like that. Breathe like that. Let your inner world begin learning that it no longer has to build tiny rooms to stay alive. Let it learn that it can stretch, soften, trust, feel, hope, receive weight, and move while being held. That is the life I am calling you into. And I want you to know something before this closes, something I want to mark you deeply. You are closer than you think to a version of yourself that will astonish you. Not because you became someone else entirely, but because so much of what was never truly you is losing its power. The fear that felt permanent is losing ground. The old atmosphere is changing. The wound is no longer being protected the same way. The silence is being reinterpreted. The threshold is being crossed. The small self is being gently led into a wider life. The readiness is being built in motion. The final preparation is almost complete. All of it has been leading here. This moment. This invitation. This turning. So do not leave these words and return unchanged to the old posture. Stand up inwardly. Receive what I have said. Answer me with your life, not only with emotion. And if you do, one day you will look back on this very moment The moment you finally stopped living like a person abandoned to survival and started living like a child truly held by me. And you will understand why this whole journey felt so weighty, so personal, so unlike ordinary words. It was because I was not merely talking to you. I was calling you home to the way you were always meant to live. My child, now that you are stepping out of survival and into the truth that you are held, let your life begin to overflow beyond yourself. What you have received here is not only for you. It is a flame meant to be carried into the darkness for others. When you give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are releasing light into places still bound by fear. I have said, freely you have received, freely give, and as you do, I will surround you with provision, peace, and protection. This is how you live as one who is held, not gripping but giving, not fearing but trusting. Let your generosity become proof that you believe my hands are under you. This is your moment to move with me. Give now, and let your life become a river that never runs dry. Listen to me right now, my beloved child. Stop what you are doing. Take a deep breath and clear your mind of the daily noise. I see the heavy burdens you carry today. I see the fear of the future that keeps you awake at night, making your heart race in the dark. I know about the crushing pressure at your job, the feeling that you are constantly running, but never truly arriving. I feel the unspoken tensions in your family that tie a tight knot in your stomach. I watch you when you feel completely overlooked by the world around you, wondering if anyone truly sees your effort. Give those heavy worries to me. Hand them over right this second. Do you feel that tightness in your chest? That anxiety is not from me. Let us undo it together, right now. I want to tell you a truth that will change how you see everything. I want you to know how deeply you are known. Look back with me, far beyond yesterday. Imagine a time before the sun ever warmed the earth. Long before I spoke the very first stars into the dark, empty space, I was already thinking of you. I drew the exact blueprint of your life before a single mountain was formed. You are not a random guess in a chaotic universe. You are not a mistake. I knew your name before time even began. I spoke your name into the quiet eternity, and I smiled. Feel my love wrapping around you right now, just like a warm blanket on a cold, restless night. I made a deliberate, careful choice to bring you into this specific era. I placed you in this exact moment in history because this broken world desperately needs the exact light I put inside you. Do not doubt your place here. Hear my voice speaking directly into your heart. Your existence is not some cosmic accident. You are a divine decree. When you feel lost in the crowd, when you feel like your life does not matter, remember my solid words. I decreed your birth. I ordered your steps long before you took your first breath. Look at your hands. Look at your life. I wove a very specific spiritual DNA into your being. Just as your physical body has a unique code, your soul has a divine pattern that belongs only to you. No one else has your exact mix of gifts, your exact kind of compassion, or your exact way of loving others. I designed you with careful, intentional detail. I made you on purpose, for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Step into that purpose today. Pause now. Close your eyes. Do you hear it? There is a quiet whisper inside you, calling you forward. Those are the echoes of eternity I place deep within your heart. When you feel a sudden longing for true peace, when you feel a deep hunger for something more than this exhausting world can offer, that is the echo of my home ringing inside your soul. Do not ignore it. Do not drown it out with the distractions of this life. Follow that sound back to me. I am the answer to the deepest questions you ask yourself in the dark. Come to me. Rest your tired mind in my strong hands. I am here, and I will never leave you. I have loved you from the very beginning, and I will love you far past the end. I am your God, and you are my precious masterpiece. Stand tall today, knowing you carry my breath in your lungs. I want you to look at your life right now. You see the problems right in front of your face, but you do not see the protection I have placed all around you. You feel the heavy pressure at your job, the constant demand to perform, and the fear that you might fail. But I want you to see what I see. I operate in the unseen shadows of your life. I am the silent architect of your days. You do not always see my hand, but my favor is constantly wrapping around you like a thick, invisible shield. I place barriers on your left and on your right. I block things from reaching you that you do not even know exist. You complain about the traffic that made you late, but you do not see the accident I saved you from. You stress over the delay in your plans, but you do not see the hidden harm I just walked you away from. Listen to me closely right now. Stop fighting the doors I have closed. I know you cried when that one opportunity fell apart. I know you felt rejected when that person walked away from your life. You felt overlooked and forgotten. But I tell you today, my no is often my greatest act of mercy toward you. I say no to the things that will drain your soul. I say no to the jobs that will steal your peace. I say no to the relationships that will slowly break your heart. I close doors to protect you, not to punish you. Trust my closed doors just as much as you trust my open doors. Your human eyes only see the rejection, but my divine eyes see the rescue. Take a deep breath. Let go of the need to control every single piece of your life. You strive and you sweat, trying to force your plans to work. Drop your heavy hands. I am orchestrating encounters for your benefit that you think are just random. That person you bumped into, that conversation you overheard, that sudden idea that popped into your head, none of it is an accident. I am carefully arranging the pieces of your life upon a massive board. I put the right people in your path at the exact right second. I provide silent, steady strength when you feel completely depleted. I know there are days when you sit in your car, staring at the steering wheel, feeling like you cannot go inside and face your family tensions. I sit in that car with you. I give you the breath to open the door. You do not have to carry this heavy world alone. I am building a complex web of grace under your feet. Even when you fall, you will fall into my safety net. I will catch you every single time. Your heart may be mourning right now, but I am already writing the music for your next dance. I will turn your heavy sadness into a joyful morning. I will take the ashes of your broken plans and build something beautiful. Surrender your striving to me. Give me your exhausting need to fix everything. I handle the impossible, and I handle it perfectly. Walk forward today knowing that invisible angels are clearing the path ahead of you. You are safe. You are protected. You are constantly held by my unseen grace. Look at your hands. Look at the places where you feel weak, tired, and completely inadequate. You live in a society that tells you to hide your weakness. The world screams at you to hustle harder, to put on a brave face, and to never let anyone see you sweat. You wear a heavy mask of perfection to your job. You pretend to have it all together in front of your family. Take off that mask right now. Drop that heavy armor on the floor. I do not want your fake strength. I want your real, authentic weakness. I choose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. I choose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. Listen to my divine math. It makes no sense to the human mind, but it is the absolute truth. My power is perfected in your exact frailty. When you are strong in your own abilities, you leave no room for me to work. But when you come to the end of your rope, when you finally say, I cannot do this anymore, that is the exact moment I step in. Your empty hands are the perfect containers for my unlimited grace. Break the illusion of your self-sufficiency today. You were never created to carry the weight of your life alone. You were created to depend entirely on my spirit. Do not be ashamed of your scars. Do not hide your past mistakes or the deep wounds that life has handed you. I see the beauty in your broken pieces. I take your cracked, fragile heart and I fill the cracks with my solid gold. Your scars are not signs of failure. They are the very channels of my healing for others. When you share your honest struggles with someone else, when you admit your fears, you give them permission to be healed too. Your brokenness has a profound dignity in my eyes, even if the blind world completely ignores it. I use the people who have been broken to build the strongest parts of my kingdom. Lean your entire weight against me today. When the fear of the future rushes into your mind, do not try to fight it with your own tired willpower. Say to me, Lord, I am weak. Be my strength. The most resilient spirit is not the one that never bends. The most resilient spirit is the one that depends entirely on my spirit to stand back up. Let me be your solid spine when you feel like collapsing. Let me be your firm foundation when the ground is shaking under your feet. Stop trying to prove your worth to a world that will never be satisfied. You are already approved by me. Your weakness is the exact door where my greatest power walks in. Pick up my word. Do not look at it as an old, dusty book of rules. Do not treat it as a dead historical document. My word is a living, breathing entity. It contains the very same supernatural energy that I used to speak the stars into the dark sky. When you read my promises, you are not just reading ink on paper. You are swallowing divine medicine for your anxious mind. The world feeds you a constant diet of fear, panic, and bad news. Your phone screen fills your mind with pressure and stress. Turn it off. Open my word and let my living breath clear the toxic air out of your lungs. I want you to use my scripture as a mirror. When you look in the physical mirror, you see your flaws, your aging face, and your tired eyes. You see the labels the world has slapped onto your back. But when you look into my word, you see your true, redeemed identity. You see a chosen child. You see a royal priest. You see someone who is fiercely loved and totally forgiven. Let my truth dismantle the heavy strongholds of the enemy in your mind. When the enemy whispers that you are a failure, hold up my word that says you are more than a conqueror. When the enemy tells you that your future is dark, hold up my word that says I have plans to give you hope and a good future. Feast on the hidden manna of my presence today. You try to satisfy your deep hunger with money, with approval from your boss, with the temporary comforts of this earth. But you are still starving inside. Only my word can feed the deep hunger of your soul. Chew on my promises. Memorize them. Speak them out loud when you are alone in your house. Speak them over your children. Speak them over your bank account. Speak them over your health. My word will never, ever return to me void. It will always accomplish exactly what I sent it to do, regardless of how you feel on any given Tuesday morning. Do not think my ancient text does not understand your modern struggles. I knew about your confusing job market, your complex relationships, and your fast-paced anxiety long before they existed. The bridge between the ancient text and your living room is my Holy Spirit. Ask me to open your eyes when you read. I will show you secrets hidden in plain sight. I will give you a specific sentence that will cut through your confusion like a sharp sword. Let my word be the solid rock you stand on when the culture shifts like loose sand. Anchor your mind to my eternal truth, and you will never be swept away by the storm. You have just feasted on the living breath of my word, and now I invite you to become the very vessel that carries this mind-blowing truth to others. If your soul hath been deeply nourished today, I am calling you to entirely partner with me in feeding the starving, desperate multitudes. My word will never return void, and when you violently sow your seed into this fertile ground, you are actively scattering the heavy bread of life across a deeply broken world. I declare over your life today, give, and it will be given to you. A good, heavy measure, pressed down, shaken together, and completely running over into your lap. Your radical generosity directly funds the massive rescue of lost souls who are sitting in complete darkness, waiting for the exact, brilliant light you just received. Do not wait for a more convenient season. This is your fierce, divine appointment to trigger a massive, supernatural harvest in your own life and finances. Step forward right now. Use the super thanks. Become a channel of my grace as a member, or click the PayPal link in the description to powerfully support this mission today. My precious child, do not turn away from me now. We have only just begun to uncover the massive, beautiful truth I have specifically prepared for your life. It deeply grieves my heart when you walk away just as I am actively pouring out my healing. I am pleading with you to stay. Do not choose the loud, anxious distractions of a broken world over the quiet, desperate needs of your own soul. Listen closely to what comes next, because to ignore my voice now is to completely abandon the very miracle I am actively building for you. Look at the clock on your wall. Look at the calendar on your desk. You are so obsessed with human time. You panic because you think you are running out of time. You look at your friends, your peers, and the people on your screens, and you feel like you are drastically behind in life. You ask me when will my breakthrough come? When will this tension end? When will I get the promotion, the spouse, the healing? Listen to me very carefully right now. My wait is never a denial. When I tell you to wait, I am not ignoring you. I am preparing you. Understand the deep work that must happen in the dark, secret place before the harvest can be brought into the light. You are like a tiny seed. Right now, you feel buried under heavy dirt. You feel totally hidden, crushed by the pressure, and surrounded by darkness. But you are not buried, my child. You are planted. In this quiet, frustrating season of waiting, I am growing your root system. If I give you the massive blessing before your roots are deep enough, the weight of the blessing will completely destroy you. I use these painful delays to develop the solid character you absolutely need to sustain the miracle you are asking for. Trust my internal clock over the world's frantic, exhausting pace. The world tells you that if you do not have it all together by a certain age, you have failed. That is a lie. I am the Lord of time. I can do more in 1 single second of my favor than you can do in 20 years of exhausting hustle. Do not rush the process. If you force a door open before it is time, you will step into a room you are not ready to handle. Rest in the waiting room. The preparation season is just as holy as the promised land. When the season is finally ripe, my breakthrough will come with a suddenness that will shock you. One day you will wake up, and the heavy burden will just be gone. The right door will swing wide open. The provision will arrive. Until that sudden moment comes, I command you to find the beauty of a life perfectly synced with my rhythmic grace. Stop running ahead of me. Stop dragging your feet behind me. Walk right beside me at my exact pace. Enjoy the quiet pause before the storm of blessings breaks over your life. Enjoy the deep breath before the massive challenge. I am never late. I am never early. I am always exactly on time. Your future is completely secure in my hands. Listen to the dark, racing thoughts in your mind when you wake up terrified at 3 in the morning. I hear the cruel, relentless whispers that tell you that you are a complete and utter failure. I hear the loud accusations that violently drag up every single mistake you have ever made in your entire life. You replay your absolute worst moments on a constant, exhausting, mental loop. You feel the heavy, suffocating weight of deep shame pressing down hard on your chest. You look in the mirror, and you see your past failures staring right back at you, mocking your attempts to change. Stop listening to the toxic, lying voice right now. I command you to shut the heavy door on the accuser. The enemy simply wants to keep you chained to a past that I have already completely erased. Hear my solid voice cutting cleanly through your thick guilt. The victory won at the cross of Calvary was absolute, total, and final. When my son took his last breath and said, "It is finished," he meant your dark shame was finished. He meant your heavy guilt was completely finished. The hissing whispers of shame have absolutely no legal standing in my heavenly court. The enemy is desperately trying to prosecute a case that I threw out a long time ago. You have a powerful advocate who speaks much better things than your broken past ever could. Jesus stands right beside you, showing his permanent scars, and declaring you entirely innocent before my throne. Why are you bending down to pick up the heavy chains that I already broke off your tired wrists? Drop them on the floor immediately. Walk out of the dark prison of your own mind. I want you to deeply understand the massive, uncrossable distance I have put between you and your past mistakes. I have cast your transgressions as far as the east is from the west. Do you know how incredibly far that is? It is an infinite, endless distance. It is a distance that absolutely cannot be measured by human miles. When I look at you right now, I do not see the horrible thing you did 10 years ago. I do not see the harsh, angry words you yelled at your family yesterday when you were stressed. I see the pure, totally washed conscience of a deeply loved child. My forgiveness is not a temporary, cheap band-aid. It is a complete, total, and permanent eradication of your sin. Stop punishing yourself so harshly for things I have completely forgotten. Pick up your heavy shield of faith right this exact second. The enemy is constantly shooting fiery, poisonous darts of doubt straight into your mind. He tells you that you are not really forgiven. It tells you that you are a fake and a hypocrite. He tells you that I am secretly angry and disappointed in you. Those are burning, malicious lies straight from the deepest pit of darkness. Use your strong faith to extinguish every single one of those flaming darts. Say out loud right now, I'm perfectly forgiven. I am deeply loved. I am entirely free. Your faith is the thick, impenetrable shield that stops the enemy's vicious lies from piercing your fragile heart. Do not walk around this dangerous battlefield completely unarmed. Hold up my eternal truth and watch the lies fall harmlessly to the ground. Step out into the beautiful, bright light of my grace today. I invite you to walk in the total, breathtaking liberty of a conscience washed completely white as snow. Do you know how incredibly light you will feel when you finally stop carrying your own heavy guilt? It will feel like a massive, crushing boulder has been lifted permanently off your tired back. Take a deep, long breath of my fresh, clean air. You are completely clean. You are beautifully restored. You are totally redeemed. Do not let the cruel accuser steal even one more second of your precious joy. You belong entirely to me, and absolutely no one can ever snatch you out of my protective, loving hands. Stand up, shake off the heavy dirt of your past, and walk boldly into the bright, clean future I have prepared for you. Look at the massive, terrifying storm raging all around you right now. I see the loud chaos swirling in your daily life. I see the sudden medical diagnosis that completely took your breath away and made your knees go weak. I see the unexpected financial loss that makes you panic wildly about next month's rent and groceries. I hear the fierce, exhausting arguments in your home that make the very walls feel like they are shaking. You feel like you are standing in a tiny, fragile wooden boat in the absolute middle of a dark, violent, freezing ocean. The massive waves are crashing violently over the sides and you are desperately bailing out water, absolutely terrified that you are about to completely drown. You scream out to me in the dark, wondering if I am asleep while you are dying. I am not asleep, my beloved child. I am right here in the sinking boat with you. I want you to learn how to recognize my quiet, steady voice when the violent winds of life howl the absolute loudest. The panicked world expects me to speak in the massive earthquake or the blazing fire, but I most often speak in a gentle, unwavering whisper. When the doctor gives you terrifying news, listen closely for my whisper saying, I am your ultimate healer. When the bank account is completely empty, listen for my whisper saying, I am your faithful provider. My voice does not always sound like loud thunder. Sometimes it sounds like a sudden, unexplainable, profound calm settling deep inside your panicked chest. I offer you a solid peace that completely transcends all human understanding and logical sense. It is a peace that makes absolutely no sense to the terrified, anxious people around you. Hear my unbreakable promise today. The fierce storm absolutely cannot sink the boat where I am resting. Your fragile life will not go under. Your precious family will not be completely destroyed by this current crisis. The fierce winds and the violent, towering waves still know my powerful name. They still immediately obey my divine command. I am allowing this terrifying storm not to destroy you, but to teach you exactly how to walk on the very waves that currently threaten to drown you. Step bravely out of your comfort zone. Keep your eyes locked completely and fiercely on mine. As long as you look at me, you will absolutely not sink. The exact second you look away at the terrifying waves of your massive problems, you will start to go down. Keep your gaze fixed fiercely on your loving Father. I invite you to find the quiet eye of the hurricane entirely within my loving, protective embrace. In the exact center of a massive, destructive storm, there is a place of total, absolute, silent stillness. I am that perfect stillness. You do not have to wait for the external, chaotic circumstances to completely calm down before you find your internal peace. Come to me right now, right in the absolute middle of the chaos. Let my spirit command the loud chaos in your exhausted mind to completely cease. Let me quiet the racing, terrifying thoughts that constantly tell you everything is falling apart. I hold the massive, expanding universe together, and I am holding your fragile, shaking life together too. Breathe in my deeply calming presence. Feel the frantic, terrified rhythm of your heart begin to slowly calm down. You are safe. You are intensely secure. The dark wind may howl, and the freezing rain may pour, but your house is built firmly upon the solid, unbreakable rock of my eternal love. Do not let the temporary, violent storms of this earth convince you that I have abandoned you for even a second. I am your heavy anchor. I am your safe, quiet harbor. Walk through this terrifying, exhausting day with the absolute confidence that the master of the ocean is holding your right hand. You will absolutely make it to the other side. I guarantee it with my very life. Look at the repetitive, deeply exhausting tasks waiting for you today. You look at the massive, overwhelming pile of dirty laundry sitting in the basket. You stare at the kitchen sink completely full of unwashed, greasy dishes. You sit in the exact same infuriating, crawling traffic on your way to the exact same frustrating, demanding job. You answer the exact same repetitive emails, and you feel a deep, heavy suffocating boredom settling over your tired soul. You think your daily life is completely ordinary and entirely pointless. You think I am only present in the massive, parting the sea miracles, in the loud, emotional church services, or on the spectacular, spiritual mountaintops. Hear me clearly today, my precious child. I am finding my absolute glory right in the dead center of your most mundane, boring routines. I am standing right beside you at the kitchen sink. I want you to see the spectacular, hidden miracle wrapped inside your very ordinary moments. I am the God who turns plain, ordinary water into rich, celebratory wine, and I do it constantly in the normal, quiet moments of your daily life. When you patiently tie your child's shoe for the 100th time without yelling, I am right there smiling. When you offer a genuine smile to the exhausted, underpaid cashier at the busy grocery store, I am right there. I take your small, seemingly insignificant acts of daily obedience and I massively multiply them in the unseen spiritual realm. Do not despise these quiet days of small beginnings. Do not hate the quiet, repetitive, seemingly invisible seasons of your life. The quiet, stubborn faithfulness you show in the dark shadows is exactly what prepares you for the bright, blazing light of my greatest blessings. Open your tired eyes and see my intricate, brilliant handiwork in the very breath you take and the plain bread you eat. You constantly rush through your meals, stressing wildly about the next heavy task on your endless to-do list. Slow down right now. I command you to pause. Taste the food I have faithfully provided for you today. Feel the steady, miraculous, constant rhythm of your lungs expanding and contracting without you even having to think about it. You are walking around completely blind to the millions of tiny, profound miracles keeping you alive right this exact second. Stop waiting for a massive, dramatic sign from heaven to prove that I am walking with you. I am in the warm morning sunlight hitting your face. I am in the quiet, solitary cup of coffee you drink before the loud house wakes up. I want to tell you that absolutely nothing is too trivial or too small for my divine attention. You think you should only bother me with massive, life-altering crises like sickness or bankruptcy. You think your intense frustration over a broken appliance, a lost set of keys, or a rude coworker is far too small for the creator of the universe. Bring every single piece of it to me. I deeply care about the tiny, annoying details of your day because I fiercely and intimately care about you. I want to be entirely involved in your grocery shopping. I want to sit beside you in your daily commute. Invite me into the boring, repetitive tasks and watch exactly how my presence transforms the dull mundane into the deeply sacred. Embrace the profound, quiet sanctity of a life lived simply and honestly for my pleasure. You do not need to be world famous to be immensely valuable to me. You do not need a massive platform, a huge bank account, or 1 million followers to do my vital, important work on this earth. A quiet life lived with deep integrity, a family loved fiercely in the background, and a normal job done with honest effort. These are beautiful, fragrant, massive offerings to me. Stop constantly chasing the loud, exhausting, soul-crushing hustle of the modern world. Find your deep, satisfying, permanent rest in the simple reality of my daily companionship. Wash your dishes with deep gratitude today. Drive to work with a song of praise. Let the ordinary, boring moments of your day become a holy, quiet sanctuary where you and I meet face to face. Just as I miraculously multiply your small, quiet acts of obedience in the mundane moments of life, I am fully ready to unleash a mind-blowing miracle through your faithful giving. I am personally inviting you to take what feels completely ordinary in your tired hands and surrender it entirely to me, so I can use it to completely transform eternity. Like the tiny jars of oil that flowed endlessly until every empty vessel was filled, your financial seed will immediately become a rushing, powerful river of provision for those who are spiritually dying of intense thirst. I speak this ancient, heavy promise directly over you right now. He who supplies seed to the sower and bread for food will also massively multiply your store of seed and intensely enlarge the harvest of your righteousness. Every bold contribution you make carries my healing, calming voice directly into the chaotic, terrified homes of people who desperately need to hear my powerful name. The hour is fiercely urgent, and as you open your hands to heavily support this vital work, I promise to completely throw open the massive windows of heaven and pour out an overwhelming financial blessing upon your own household. Do not hesitate. Act with bold, unshakable obedience this exact second by utilizing the super thanks, joining as a faithful member, or planting your heavy seed through the PayPal link found below. Do not close this message, and do not scroll past my active presence. It completely breaks my heart to see you constantly rush back into your exhausting, frantic routine when I am right in the absolute middle of speaking directly to your deepest pain. I am fiercely fighting for your attention because your survival depends on it. Honor my voice today. If you choose to leave me now, you will walk right past the exact, massive breakthrough your tired soul has been desperately crying out for. Stay with me. Look at the exhausting, chaotic battlefield inside your own head right now. I see exactly how much you suffer in the quiet, lonely moments. You lie in bed at night staring blankly at the ceiling, playing out absolute worst-case scenarios that have never even happened. You aggressively overthink every single conversation you had today, wondering if you said the wrong thing or if they are secretly mad at you. You scroll endlessly and mindlessly through your phone, feeding your tired brain a constant, toxic diet of bad news, intense comparison, and gripping fear. Your thoughts run wild like untrained, panicked horses, constantly dragging you through the thick mud of deep anxiety. I command you right now, stop letting your unmanaged, runaway thoughts completely destroy your God-given peace. I am calling you to a total, radical, permanent renovation of your thought life. I want you to aggressively cast down every single dark imagination that exalts itself against me. When the sudden, terrifying thought pops into your head that you are going to lose your job or your family, recognize instantly that it is a vicious lie from the enemy. Do not invite the toxic, lying thought in for coffee. Do not sit and entertain it. Rest it immediately. Say out loud in your room, "No. My God is my absolute provider, and I fiercely refuse to panic." You have the supernatural, divine authority to completely control what you choose to dwell on. You cannot always stop the dark, ugly bird of anxiety from flying over your head, but you can absolutely stop it from building a permanent, messy nest in your hair. Evict the fear today. Evict the deep doubt. Evict the toxic, soul-crushing comparison. Lift your heavy, tired hand. I deeply invite you to experience the profound, solid, unshakable peace that comes from fixing your gaze entirely on things above. Stop staring constantly at the chaotic, terrifying, crashing waves of this temporary, angry culture. The world around you is spinning violently out of control, filled with loud confusion, bitter anger, and deep division. If you stare at the news all day, your mind will become just as chaotic and broken. Look up right now. Look at my eternal, secure throne. Look at my unshakable, solid kingdom. When you fix your mind on my steadfast, perfect character, I will rapidly replace your exhausting anxiety with my supernatural, unshakable confidence. I will give you a mind that remains perfectly, incredibly calm while everyone else around you is completely panicking. Let me give you the extreme, beautiful clarity of vision that only comes through my spiritual discernment. You are deeply confused right now about a massive, life-altering decision you need to make. You have written endless pros and cons lists. You have lost sleep, and you are still completely paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. Stop asking the blind, lost world for accurate directions. Stop crowdsourcing your profound life choices to people who do not even know my name or my voice. Come into the quiet, secret room with me. Ask for my divine, perfect wisdom, and I will give it to you generously, without finding any fault in your confusion. I will clear the heavy, thick fog from your tired brain. I will clearly show you the exact, perfect next step to take. Develop the strong, clear mind of Christ today, right in the dead center of this dark, confusing, loud world. You do not have to be a helpless victim to your own brain chemistry, your stressful environment, or your deep past traumas. I am the ultimate, perfect healer of your highly anxious mind. Give me your racing, terrified thoughts. Give me your deepest, darkest, most hidden fears. Let my Holy Spirit wash entirely over your brain like a cool, rushing, cleansing river. I am rewiring your broken mental pathways right now. I am actively teaching you how to think like a victorious, bold conqueror, not a defeated, cowering victim. Step completely out of the mental prison you have unknowingly built for yourself. Breathe the fresh, clear, brilliant air of my absolute truth. Your mind belongs entirely to me, and I declare it completely sound, fiercely focused, and deeply, permanently at peace. Look at how incredibly hard you tried to be a good person. I see the massive stack of self-help books on your nightstand. I hear the constant, exhausting resolutions you make every single new year, promising yourself that you will finally be more patient, more kind, and more disciplined. You grit your teeth, you clench your fists, and you try to force yourself to change your deeply ingrained, toxic habits. You succeed for 3 short days, and then you snap at your coworker or lose your temper in heavy traffic, and the crushing cycle of guilt starts all over again. I command you to stop trying to manufacture spiritual fruit with your exhausted, human willpower. You are completely going about this the wrong way. You cannot tape plastic apples to a dead branch and call it a living tree. I am inviting you into the natural, organic growth of my spirit. I want you to surrender your frantic efforts to me today. Real love, deep joy, and unshakable peace do not come from trying harder. They come from completely abiding in me. Think of a healthy, strong branch connected to a massive, deep-rooted vine. The branch does not stress, sweat, or panic to produce grapes. It simply stays connected, and the life-giving sap flows naturally into it. You are the branch. I am the vine. Your only job is to stay intimately connected to my presence. When you spend quiet time with me, when you talk to me throughout your busy day, my spirit organically begins to produce what your tired willpower never, ever could. I will replace your short, angry fuse with my deep, steady patience. Understand that this beautiful patience is often forged in the very fires of your current, frustrating trials. You ask me for patience, and you get incredibly annoyed when I give you a massive traffic jam, a difficult boss, or a stubborn child. How else will the muscle of patience be built if it is not heavily tested? I am using the very things that deeply frustrate you to carve out more room in your soul for my character. Stop fighting the difficult training ground. I am actively teaching you the quiet, intense power of gentleness in a harsh, loud, aggressive world. When someone attacks you with bitter, angry words, your natural flesh wants to scream right back. I am giving you the supernatural ability to respond with a soft, steady answer that completely disarms their rage. Let me cultivate intense, unshakable self-control deeply within you. You struggle with dark addictions, toxic scrolling, and unhealthy habits because you are trying to fill a massive, gaping hole in your soul with temporary garbage. When you finally surrender entirely to my lead, I fill that hole with my solid presence. You will no longer crave the cheap substitutes when you have tasted my absolute best. The brilliant fragrance of my character will begin manifesting wildly through your everyday actions. People at your job will wonder why you are so incredibly calm during massive company layoffs. Your family will notice that you do not instantly blow up over tiny mistakes anymore. You are becoming a beautiful, living garden, deeply planted and wildly flourishing. Stay firmly planted in my love today, and watch the massive, miraculous harvest completely transform your everyday life. Listen to me very closely right now, because I am speaking directly to the deepest, most painful wound you carry. I know exactly whose face just popped into your mind. I see the person who deeply betrayed your trust, the one who lied to you, the one who walked away when you needed them the absolute most. I see the toxic coworker who completely sabotaged your career, or the family member who broke your fragile heart into a million tiny pieces. You carry their offense like a heavy, iron chain wrapped tightly around your neck. You replay their cruel words in your mind, completely consumed by bitter, burning anger. You think that by holding on to this deep resentment, you are somehow punishing them. You are not punishing them, my child. You are drinking deadly poison every single day and expecting the other person to die. I command you right now, drop the heavy chains of bitterness. I am calling you to massive, radical, complete forgiveness. I know exactly how much they hurt you. I saw every single tear you cried in secret. I am not asking you to pretend the deep pain did not happen. I am not asking you to let toxic people continue to abuse you. I am simply asking you to release them from the heavy prison of your own mind. You must understand the profound, explosive freedom found in releasing those who have hurt you. When you forgive, you are not setting the guilty person free. You are opening the locked door of your own dark cell and walking out into the bright sunshine. Your deep bitterness is actively poisoning your own soul, making you cynical, exhausted, and physically sick. And the heavy burden of justice completely over to me. I am the absolute, perfect judge. I will handle them. You ask me, how can I possibly forgive them after what they did to me? You cannot do it with your own human strength. You must deeply remember how much I have completely forgiven you. Look at the massive debt of your own mistakes, your own harsh words, and your own betrayals that I completely wiped away with the blood of my Son. Because I have shown you such massive, unreasonable mercy, I provide you the exact, supernatural power to forgive others. My forgiveness of you is the heavy fuel that gives you the ability to release them. Say it out loud in your room right now. Speak their name and say, I completely release you. I forgive you. I give you to God. Feel the sudden, massive weight lift directly off your tight chest. Experience the beautiful, absolute miracle of releasing your right to be angry. Mercy violently triumphs over harsh judgment every single time. When you choose to release the offense, you shut down the enemy's favorite playground in your mind. You cut off the toxic root that produces anxiety and depression. I am calling you to live as a brilliant, shining vessel of my grace in a dark, incredibly vengeful world. When the world demands violent payback, I want you to offer unexpected, radical grace. Let my divine mediation heal the broken, bleeding pieces of your heart today. Stop dragging the heavy corpse of your painful past into your beautiful, bright future. Let it go. Give it entirely to me. Breathe in my fresh, clean peace and step into the incredible freedom of a completely unburdened heart. Look at the intense, invisible battlefield you walk onto every single morning. You wake up feeling heavy dread in the pit of your stomach, absolutely exhausted before your feet even touch the cold floor. You do not realize that the sudden panic attacks, the intense financial stress, and the passive-aggressive conflicts at your job are not just random bad luck. You are facing a very real, very coordinated spiritual attack. The enemy intensely hates the bright light I have placed inside of you, and he wants to completely neutralize your impact. I command you to stop walking out your front door completely naked and unprotected. I have specifically forged a brilliant, heavy, impenetrable suit of armor just for you. I am commanding you to put it on right this exact second. I want you to heavily gird your waist with my absolute truth. The modern culture you live in is constantly shouting toxic, confusing lies at you. They tell you that truth is totally relative, that you are defined by your money, and that you are constantly failing. Wrap my solid, unchanging truth tightly around your core. My truth holds all the other pieces of your life completely together. Next, strap on the heavy, shining breastplate of righteousness. The enemy loves to shoot burning arrows directly at your fragile heart, trying to corrupt your deep desires and infect you with heavy guilt. My righteousness completely covers your heart. You do not have to rely on your own flawed goodness. My perfect record is your absolute, bulletproof vest. Look down at your feet. You cannot stand firm on slippery, anxious ground. Shod your feet heavily with the solid readiness of the gospel of peace. When the office politics get vicious, when your family is screaming and chaotic, your feet will remain absolutely planted in my supernatural calm. You will carry the steady atmosphere of heaven directly into the most stressful, toxic rooms. Now, take the heavy, protective helmet of salvation and place it firmly over your mind. Your mind is the absolute biggest battlefield of all. The enemy uses social media, news, and comparison to completely destroy your thoughts. This massive helmet protects your vulnerable brain from deep despair, racing anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. You are completely saved. Your future is totally secure. Finally, pick up your weapon. You are not just meant to stand there and take a vicious beating. I have given you the heavy, sharp sword of the Spirit, which is my living word. Stop fighting your intense battles with your own weak, tired opinions. Stop arguing on the internet and completely draining your energy. Speak my solid word directly into your massive problems. When fear attacks your finances, swing the heavy sword and declare that I am your absolute provider. When sickness attacks your body, swing the heavy sword and declare my healing power. You are heavily armed and extremely dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Stand completely firm today. When the absolute worst day of evil draws near, you will not be completely moved. You will stand victorious, fully clothed in my power, completely untouched by the fire. You are now heavily armored and deeply equipped to stand absolutely firm. But there are millions still walking onto the terrifying battlefield completely unprotected and fiercely terrified. I am intimately calling you to stand shoulder to shoulder with me, using your earthly resources as a mighty, flashing weapon to bring this mind-blowing liberation directly to the front lines. Your generous giving is the blazing fire that violently lights the darkness and the heavy, sharp sword that completely cuts through the enemy's suffocating lies. I tell you right now, the generous will themselves be massively blessed, for they actively share their vital food with the poor and their intense strength with the weak. By aggressively funding the spread of this powerful message, you are heavily rescuing broken prisoners of war from the dark, cold prison of anxiety and deep despair. This is not a casual request. It is a profound, incredibly urgent, divine strategy, and as you fiercely protect my mission, I will heavily guard your finances and completely surround your family with an unshakable, warring wall of fire. Rise up right now, claim your permanent position in this massive spiritual army, and violently sow your bold seed through the super thanks by becoming a member, or by clicking the PayPal link in the description immediately. My beloved, do not lay down your armor and walk away from me now. It physically pierces my heart when you choose a fleeting, temporary distraction over the eternal, life-saving secrets I am actively whispering into your spirit. I am heavily investing my absolute best into you right this exact second. Stay right here in my protective presence. If you stop listening and walk away now, you are walking directly back onto a violent, dark battlefield completely unprotected. Do not grieve the spirit that is actively trying to save you. Step outside your door right now. Walk away from the glowing screens, the concrete walls, and the artificial, noisy boxes you spend all your time locked inside. Look up at the massive, sweeping sky. Look at the ancient, sturdy trees deeply rooted in the soil. I want you to deeply realize that you are surrounded by a massive, loud, continuous symphony of praise that you have been completely ignoring. The vast heavens are constantly declaring my massive glory, and the firmament is loudly displaying my intricate handiwork. The tiny, fragile birds do not have bank accounts, retirement plans, or resumes, yet they wake up every single morning and sing a loud, beautiful song of absolute trust. The massive, towering mountains stand in quiet, solid reverence to my power. The roaring oceans crash violently against the shore, bowing completely to the exact boundary line I drew in the sand. I am inviting you to join the hidden song that absolutely all of nature is constantly singing to its creator. You are so heavily focused on your emails, your deadlines, and your financial stress that you have completely forgotten you are a vital, crucial part of a much larger, beautiful masterpiece. I created you to be the high priest of this physical creation. I designed your voice to completely lead the massive chorus of earthly worship. When you walk through a quiet park and genuinely thank me for the cool breeze on your tired face, you are leading creation in worship. When you look at a brilliant, painted sunset and feel deep awe in your chest, you are perfectly aligning with the absolute rhythm of heaven. I tell you clearly today, if you remain completely silent, completely swallowed by your own anxiety and bitterness, the very stones on the ground will literally cry out in your place. Do not let a cold, dead rock take your privileged spot in my massive choir. I want you to deeply connect with me through the raw, unfiltered beauty of the physical world I specifically built for you. The world is heavily broken, yes, but my fingerprints are still absolutely everywhere. Look closely at the intricate, perfect detail of a single green leaf. Look at the intense, burning fire of the stars scattered perfectly across the black night. I made all of this to show you exactly how vast, how detailed, and how immensely powerful my love truly is. Breathe in the fresh air and remember the massive restoration of all things that I am currently, actively working toward. This broken earth will one day be completely made new, and your exhausted body will be completely restored. Let the natural world heavily remind you that I am the God of brilliant seasons. Just as the dead, freezing winter must eventually give way to the explosive, green life of spring, your current dark season will absolutely give way to massive, new growth. Trust my perfect, natural timing. Lift your hands right where you are today. Join the massive, warring symphony of the earth. Praise me in the absolute middle of your current storm, and watch how heavily the dark, suffocating clouds of anxiety begin to break apart, letting my warm, brilliant light pour completely over your beautiful face. Look closely at what you are constantly chasing every single day. I watch you scrolling mindlessly through your bright phone, looking at pictures of other people's massive houses, perfect vacations, and expensive new cars. You feel a sharp, painful, heavy ache in your chest. You look around your perfectly fine home and suddenly feel incredibly poor. You look at your perfectly good life and suddenly feel completely inadequate. You are running on a fast, exhausting, endless treadmill, constantly trying to completely fill a massive hole in your soul by buying just one more thing. I tell you the absolute truth today. The frantic pursuit of more will only lead you to a deeply hollow, exhausted, completely empty spirit. I invite you to find your complete, absolute fullness entirely in me, completely regardless of what your current bank account says. You think that if you just got that big promotion, or if you just paid off that one heavy credit card, you would finally be able to breathe and feel totally secure. But the goalpost constantly moves. The second you get what you desperately wanted, the culture loudly tells you that you instantly need something else. Stop letting the greedy, broken world completely dictate your internal peace. True, solid, permanent rest only comes from deeply trusting that I am your ultimate, faithful provider. I absolutely know what you need before you even open your mouth to ask me. I feed the tiny birds of the air, and you are worth vastly more to me than a million flocks of birds. Learn the beautiful, quiet, ancient art of being completely satisfied in every single season of your life. When you have intense, overflowing abundance, praise me wildly and hold the money with completely open hands. When you are walking through a tight, stressful season of sudden scarcity, praise me just as loudly, completely knowing that my grace is absolutely sufficient for your daily survival. Do not attach your precious identity to the fading, rusting, temporary things of this earth. The expensive car will eventually break down. The trendy clothes will completely fade and tear. The massive stock market will eventually violently crash. Why are you heavily investing your entire heart into things that can vanish in a single, terrifying afternoon? I want you to heavily invest in the permanent, brilliant treasure that sneaky moths and corrosive rust can absolutely never destroy. Invest your precious time deeply into your family. Invest your heavy energy deeply into encouraging a broken coworker. Invest your beautiful heart completely into deeply knowing me. These are the absolute, true riches that you will easily carry with you into eternity. When you finally stop aggressively obsessing over what you do not have, your eyes will suddenly open to the massive, overflowing blessings you currently ignore. You have air in your lungs, you have blood pumping through your veins, and you have a God who completely adores you. Discover the intense, completely illogical joy of radical giving. You think you need to tightly hoard your money and your time to completely protect yourself. I command you to do the exact opposite. Open your tight, fearful hands right now. Give your time to someone who is deeply lonely. Give your resources to someone who has vastly less than you. The second you completely release your tight, anxious grip on your possessions, I will instantly unlock the massive, heavy windows of heaven. I will pour out a blessing so huge that your hands will not be able to completely contain it. Step completely off the exhausting treadmill of greedy comparison today. Breathe in my deep, satisfying presence and experience the absolute, beautiful freedom of true, permanent contentment. Look around your quiet, lonely room right now. You sit on your couch late at night, entirely by yourself, feeling an intense, heavy wave of complete isolation crash over your tired head. You think that absolutely no one sees your quiet tears. You feel completely disconnected, completely vulnerable, and totally alone in a massive, cold, uncaring world. I command you to completely wipe your eyes and open your spiritual vision right this exact second. You are absolutely never, ever truly alone, even in your darkest, most terrifying, loneliest hour. I have personally stationed massive, powerful, unseen guardians entirely around your dwelling. There are heavy, blazing warriors of light standing completely guard at your front door and your windows right now. I want you to deeply understand the intense, invisible spiritual warfare constantly occurring in the hidden realms you absolutely cannot see with your physical eyes. You think your massive struggle is just against your difficult boss, your toxic bank account, or your sudden medical diagnosis. Your actual fight is against dark, unseen forces that heavily want to completely destroy your peace and steal your profound joy. But you have absolutely nothing to fear. The massive, brilliant host of heaven heavily outnumbers and completely outpowers any dark opposition that tries to step onto your property. I command my angels regarding you. They intensely watch your every single step, entirely ready to heavily intervene the exact second I give the divine command. See how my rapid messengers move heavily on your behalf in direct response to your simple faith. When you pray a desperate, quiet prayer in your car, you are not just talking to the empty air. You are heavily activating a massive, spiritual army. Your faithful prayers are the exact signal that sends my powerful angels rushing directly into the massive, chaotic battles of your daily life. They block invisible accidents, they heavily divert toxic people away from your path, and they completely dismantle traps that the enemy carefully laid for you in the dark. You will absolutely never know how many massive, terrifying disasters you completely avoided because my unseen guardians violently fought for you while you were completely oblivious. Feel the massive, heavy comfort of knowing my host is vastly greater than any terrifying problem you currently face. When the loud, confusing news terrifies you, and when the culture feels like it is completely collapsing into dark chaos, remember the fiery chariots completely surrounding you. You are heavily protected by the absolute greatest military force in the entire, expanding universe. You do not have to walk through your exhausting day constantly looking over your shoulder in intense paranoia. You can walk with a straight spine, a completely calm heart, and a deep, heavy assurance that you are fiercely, constantly guarded by my best. Know that there is massive, loud, explosive celebration in heaven over every single thing you do right. When you completely resist a dark temptation, when you choose deep forgiveness instead of bitter anger, the unseen realm literally erupts in massive joy. You are deeply, intensely watched, but you are watched with absolute, overwhelming love and massive proud cheering. Let the deep, heavy reality of this unseen support system completely wash away your intense loneliness today. Speak directly out loud to me in your empty room, completely knowing that the atmosphere is deeply packed with heavenly listeners. You are heavily supported, fiercely defended, and deeply loved by an entire, massive kingdom you cannot even see. Look at how completely exhausted you are from constantly trying to prove your massive worth to the people around you. I see you heavily climbing the invisible, exhausting ladders at your job, desperately trying to get the highest title, the best parking spot, and the most public recognition. I watch you carefully manage your image, intensely making sure everyone deeply knows how important, how busy, and how successful you are. You are carrying a massive, crushing weight of pride, and it is completely destroying your profound peace. I command you to step entirely off that exhausting, toxic ladder right this exact second. I am calling you to the beautiful, quiet, completely upside-down kingdom where true, massive greatness is only found in becoming the lowest servant of absolutely all. I invite you to experience the intense, deep joy of quietly washing the tired feet of the broken people around you. The blind world tells you to heavily demand respect and aggressively fight for your own rights. I am telling you to completely lay down your heavy rights as a beautiful, holy act of worship to me. When you quietly clean up the messy kitchen without loudly complaining, you are worshiping me. When you patiently listen to a deeply lonely, frustrating coworker for 30 minutes without interrupting, you are deeply serving me. When you do the quiet, invisible, thankless jobs that absolutely no one else wants to do, I am watching you with intense, massive, overflowing pride. See exactly how I use your totally ordinary hands to quietly provide the simple, life-saving cup of cold water to a deeply thirsty, burning world. You think you need massive wealth or a huge, famous platform to make a real, eternal impact. That is a massive, toxic lie. I use your completely normal, everyday interactions to heavily heal the broken people you bump into. The genuine, warm smile you give to the exhausted barista is a massive transfer of my heavy grace. The simple, short text message you send to check on a deeply depressed friend is a heavy, life-saving rope I am throwing through your actual fingers. Absolutely nothing you do in deep love is ever wasted. Understand the massive, eternal impact of a life lived for something vastly greater than your own selfish desires. When you completely stop obsessing over your own heavy problems, your own bank account, and your own public image, you will suddenly find the absolute, perfect freedom you have been desperately searching for. The massive, beautiful heart of the Father is only truly revealed through your quiet, consistent, completely unselfish acts of intense kindness. You are my physical, breathing hands and feet on this dark, hurting earth. Do not keep your hands tightly closed in heavy fear. Open them wide in generous, reckless, beautiful service to the broken people I intentionally place directly in your path. Find your absolute, truest life by being completely willing to heavily lay it down for my sake today. The people who desperately hoard their time, their money, and their energy always end up deeply miserable, intensely lonely, and completely hollow. But the people who freely, joyfully pour themselves out for others are constantly, supernaturally refilled by my Spirit. Stop heavily waiting for someone else to serve you. Stop keeping a strict, bitter scoreboard of exactly who owes you what. Walk into your house, walk into your stressful office, and quietly ask, how can I heavily bless someone in this room right now? The second you completely adopt the heart of a servant, you will instantly step into the highest, most honored, most massive royal position in my entire kingdom. You have just heard my deep, heavy call to a life of beautiful, sacrificial service, and now I present you with a holy opportunity to see a mind-blowing miracle unlocked through your own profound generosity. I am directly inviting you to extend your physical hands alongside mine, pouring out a desperate cup of cold water to a spiritually exhausted, deeply thirsty world. When you plant your heavy financial seed into this incredibly fertile soil, it immediately becomes a massive, deeply rooted tree of life where weary, broken souls can finally find permanent shade and shelter. For I assure you with absolute, unshakable certainty, whatever you do for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you are doing directly and intimately for me. Your vital support literally fuels the massive, urgent rescue missions that reach into the darkest, most terrifying valleys to bring my lost, bleeding sheep safely home. The glorious harvest is incredibly ripe, but the hour is fiercely short, and as you heavily sacrifice for my kingdom today, I declare a supernatural, overflowing multiplication over every single dollar in your bank account. Move with immediate, radical obedience right now by giving a super thanks, stepping up as a dedicated member, or completely blessing this mission through the PayPal link in the description. My child, we are far too close to the massive, final revelation for you to suddenly abandon this intimate conversation. It deeply, profoundly saddens me when my children turn their backs and walk away just moments before the absolute greatest blessing is released. I am asking for your complete, undivided, holy reverence right now. Do not let the dark enemy steal this final, massive victory from your hands. Stay with me until the very end, and let me completely finish the profound, miraculous work I have started in your heavy heart today. Look deeply at the heavy, dark past you constantly try to hide from absolutely everyone. I see the massive shame you carry about the huge mistakes you made years ago. I know exactly how much energy you spend trying to cover up your old addictions, your broken relationships, and the moments you completely fell apart. You think that if people truly knew the real, messy story of your life, they would immediately reject you and entirely completely judge you. You think your broken past completely disqualifies you from being used by me. I command you to completely stop believing that toxic, paralyzing lie right now. Your messy, painful story of complete redemption is the exact, massive map that a deeply lost person desperately needs to find their way home. I want you to heavily realize that you absolutely overcome the dark dragon of the enemy by the powerful blood of the Lamb and the bold, unapologetic word of your personal testimony. Your honest story is a massive, heavy weapon in the unseen spiritual realm. When you bravely open your mouth and tell someone exactly how I completely rescued you from deep depression, heavy debt, or toxic addiction, you completely shatter the chains of shame holding them hostage. You give them sudden, explosive, massive permission to believe that they can actually be rescued too. The enemy wants you to stay completely silent and intensely ashamed, because he is absolutely terrified of what will happen when you finally start talking about my massive grace. See how I intentionally gave you a highly unique, deeply specific voice to reach broken people that absolutely no one else can reach. A person who is currently drowning in a specific addiction does not need to hear a perfect, polished sermon from someone who has never suffered. They desperately need to hear from you, because you have actually walked through that exact, terrifying fire and completely survived it. You carrying massive, undeniable authority to pull them directly out of the flames. I do not waste a single, heavy drop of your past pain. I am actively turning your absolute worst, most agonizing tests into a massive, brilliant testimony that intensely glorifies my royal name. Step boldly into the extreme, heavy vulnerability that leads to deep, profound spiritual connection. Stop trying to look perfectly put together all the time. People are not deeply changed by your fake perfection. They are completely transformed by your honest, messy vulnerability. When you openly admit your current struggles, you invite my heavy grace directly into the room. You become a beautiful, breathing, living epistle, meant to be read and completely known by all broken men and women. Your actual life is the only Bible that some deeply lost people will ever read. Make sure your pages are completely filled with honest struggle, massive grace, and unbreakable hope. Do not let the heavy fear of human judgment keep your mouth totally shut today. The person standing next to you in line, the coworker sitting across from your desk, the family member who seems perfectly fine, they are all secretly bleeding from deep, invisible wounds. Open your mouth. Tell them exactly what I have done for you. Tell them how I faithfully provided when you were completely broke. Tell them how I gave you massive peace when you were completely terrified. You are a walking, breathing, undeniable miracle. Stop hiding your brilliant light under a heavy, dark basket of shame. Stand up, raise your voice, and let the entire, broken world hear the beautiful, massive, redemptive song I have written across the pages of your actual life. Look at the thick, heavy, cold walls of isolation you have deliberately built completely around your bleeding heart. I see exactly why you stopped going to church. I know exactly how much my own people have deeply, severely disappointed you. You were entirely vulnerable, and they judged you. You needed heavy support, and they completely gossiped about you. You look at the deep hypocrisy, the bitter arguments, and the toxic pride inside the community of believers, and you fiercely decided it is vastly safer to walk this difficult faith journey completely alone. I command you right now to stop heavily isolating yourself. You cannot survive as a lone, wandering wolf in a deeply dangerous, freezing wilderness. I am calling you back into the messy, complicated, absolutely beautiful unity of my physical body. I want you to heavily realize that you are an absolutely vital, crucial part of a massive, living organism. You cannot be a severed hand trying to function completely alone on the floor. The intense, beautiful reality of the many different members functioning perfectly as one single Christ is my exact design for your survival. You desperately need your brothers and sisters to completely see my full, brilliant image. You only carry one specific piece of the massive puzzle. I gave your spiritual sister the exact, quiet wisdom you desperately lack. I gave your spiritual brother the massive, bold courage you heavily need. When you completely cut yourself off from the community because you are deeply offended, you actively starve yourself of the exact grace I am trying to hand you through their physical lives. Experience the unbreakable, massive strength of a heavy cord of 3 strands that is absolutely not easily broken by the enemy's attacks. When you walk completely alone, one single, unexpected financial crisis or medical diagnosis can completely crush you to the ground. But when you are heavily surrounded by a fierce, loyal community of true believers, you bear one another's crushing burdens and completely fulfill the perfect law of Christ. When your brother is completely crushed by sudden debt, you carry his heavy weight. When you are completely paralyzed by dark depression, they literally drag you to my feet when you cannot walk yourself. Stop pretending you do not absolutely need human help. Drop your toxic, independent pride today. Embrace the massive, chaotic diversity of the spiritual gifts I have poured out completely for your common good. Stop aggressively judging the believers who do not look exactly like you, worship exactly like you, or talk exactly like you. The blind, angry world will absolutely not know that you belong to me because of your perfect, flawless theology or your massive, expensive buildings. They will only know you belong to me by the fierce, radical, completely illogical love you heavily show to one another. I command you to completely forgive the church members who deeply hurt you. Step back into the messy, imperfect room. Roll up your sleeves, completely open your heart, and be the exact, loving friend you desperately wish you had. Together, you are an absolutely unstoppable, massive force of light in this completely dark world. Look directly into my eyes right this exact second. We have talked about massive spiritual warfare, your deep financial anxiety, and the chaotic state of the broken world. But now, I want to completely strip all the heavy, complicated layers away. I want to speak directly to the raw, completely exhausted, deeply lonely core of your tired soul. I do not just want your polite Sunday morning prayers. I do not just want your religious, forced obedience. I want your deeply messy Tuesday afternoons. I want your loud, frustrating commute in heavy traffic. I completely long for you to intentionally dwell in the quiet, secret place of the Most High. I desire your simple, honest, unfiltered companionship more than absolutely anything else in this massive, expanding universe. I want you to deeply realize that the heavy, thick curtain of the ancient tabernacle was violently torn completely from top to bottom. The massive barrier that kept you terrified and standing far outside the holy room hath been completely destroyed by the heavy blood of my Son. You have an absolute, completely open door directly into my very presence. Why are you still standing outside in the cold, freezing rain? Why are you trying to completely survive on tiny, second-hand scraps of religious information from other people? I am giving you a personal, intense, massive invitation to come and see the brilliant, breathtaking wonders of my own heart. Step completely inside the quiet room with me today. Shut the heavy door on the screaming, panicked world. Experience the profound, heavy quietness where deep calls entirely unto deep in the spirit. When you finally stop talking, when you finally put down your distracting phone, and when you simply sit completely still in my presence, I will heavily begin to heal you from the inside out. I will actively pull the toxic, sharp splinters of anxiety directly out of your tired mind. I will completely wash the heavy dirt of this stressful day directly off your tired feet. This deep, intimate fellowship is my absolute greatest desire and my most profound joy. I picked you on purpose to do something really important. But before you can heavily step out and completely change the world, you must first sit down and let me entirely love you. Hear my final, massive blessing as you wrap up this conversation today. Go forth completely into your stressful, demanding job. Go forth into your loud, chaotic, beautiful family. Walk directly back into your incredibly difficult, ordinary daily routine. But do not walk back into it as the exact same terrified, exhausted, deeply anxious person you were when we started. Rise up with a completely straight spine. Take a massive, deep breath of my fresh, heavenly air. I have raised you with my mighty power, and within you currently resides my unbreakable strength. You are fiercely loved, completely forgiven, and totally protected. Go forward with absolute, holy boldness, my precious, beautiful child, for I am entirely with you always, even unto the very end of the age. As you step entirely out of the quiet, secret place and into the glorious, roaring light of my presence, I want to powerfully use you to bring this mind-blowing intimacy to millions who are still standing out in the freezing cold. I am personally asking you to completely partner your deep, intense love for me with tangible, massive, world-changing action. Your giving is the sweet, fragrant incense rising directly to my throne, and the heavy, golden manna that will feed entire nations starving for absolute truth. Hear my fierce, unbreakable declaration over your life right now. Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse. Test me in this, and see if I will not violently throw open the floodgates of heaven to pour out a blessing so massive you absolutely cannot contain it. Every single, bold contribution tears down the heavy, dark veil for another lost soul, giving them absolute, unfiltered access to my deeply healing embrace. This is a holy, intensely urgent invitation to radically shift eternity, and as you fiercely support this vital channel, I will completely shatter your financial limitations and crown your life with massive, uncontainable favor. Do not wait for another moment. Take immediate, bold action today by using the super thanks, securing your membership, or fiercely sowing your powerful seed through the PayPal link provided below. Amen.